We live. SUC in the building. We back. And as promised, we will be continuing the book highlights of The Black Jews of Africa by Edith Bruder. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, I want to show our brother LP love. You know what I'm saying? The brother is a very talented musician, and the brother has some good songs. Go subscribe to LP like Paul on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, follow my lead. Boom, subscribe. Like his video. You know what I'm saying? So we can get more positive music out there in the airways. We got to support brothers that make positive music or just talented music as a whole, because negative music dominates the industry. So we got to do our job to support those and get them out there. So we got LP in the building representing. My brother LP, he make this debate stuff look easy. You feel me?
That's
Let's
right. Yes, sir. 7.
LP. Yeah. Hood need a blessing. Hood need a blessing. That's why they always stress. Hood need a blessing. Hood need a blessing. Yeah. Hood need a blessing. Yeah. That's why they always stress. Big automatic weapons. Yeah. Hood need a blessing. Hood need a blessing. That's why they always stress. With the automatic weapons. The hood need a blessing. The hood need a blessing. That's why they always stress. With the automatic weapons. The hood need a blessing. The hood need a blessing. That's why they always stress. With the automatic weapons. Lord, the hood need a blessing now. My little homie got a Smith and Wesson now. Trying to get it till they get that work. Trying to get it till they get that work. Every time I turn around, it's bad news and I hate it. They love to it, they deal with it, stay geeked up, stay faded. They popping all these pills, sipping on that lean. Head those they ride slow, they see slow so clean. They still ride so dirty, drinking on that dirty. Around here we get it out the mud, down south we call it that dirty. Bottom of the map, yep, that's my stomping grounds. Southern pride and them rubber flags, my people out here busting rounds. The hood need a blessing, the hood need a blessing. Why they always stressing? The automatic weapons. The hood need a blessing, the hood need a blessing. That's why they always stressing with the automated weapons. The hood need a blessing, the hood need a blessing. That's why they always stressing with the automatic weapons. The hood need a blessing, the hood need a blessing. That's why they always stressing with the automated weapons. Yeah.
party. Man, you're cool. Man, you get mad. What do? Being cool. You got that? Yeah, I got it. You working with you great, man. Check it out, fool. Let's go do. Yeah, right on.
Need a blessing, need a blessing. Why always stressing? Need a blessing, need a blessing. Why always stressing? Lord, the hood need a blessing now. My little cousin got a Smith and Wesson now. I just gotta call my nephew, just got shot. My sister hurt bad, she been through a lot. Lord, I need you to talk to me and answer some of my questions. Church on every block, but ain't nobody getting your message. What do you want me to do? Why we gotta suffer so much? Nobody got it. I feel like Mike in the judge. Ready for whatever. I'm stronger and I'm better. World getting so cold. Somebody give me a sweater. Lord, the hood need a blessing now. No mask on his face when they seven now. He just trying to survive, see another day. Please, Lord, tell me it ain't gotta be that way. Lil' mama said she got a bad temper. She said that she was violated by a family member. I was hurting and my heart was turning black and blue. Then she told me that it happened to her brother too. Lord, the hood need a blessing now. Lord, the hood need a blessing now.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Had to show that love to LPZ. He make this rap stuff look easy. You hear me? Shout out to LP, admin of the source. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. He got a book out too right now, man. Y'all need to go support that brother, man.
Right. Because you know we read over here.
Right.
We read over here. You know what I'm saying? The competitors don't really spend too much time reading. That's why their name and what
Rhetoric,
they're doing
man.
is built off rhetoric. That's it, man. And I want before we get started, let me shout out to the Plumantis. Plumantis is on every show showing love. So I want to shout out to that brother. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you. We
Sincerely, bro.
Yeah, man. All the support and love that you give us, man. We look, it's not being unnoticed. The brother said, Shalom, brothers. Hopefully you can get with other brothers who have solid information, just like brother Benaiah. Yeah, I want to actually go to his channel and drop a presentation on his channel with his blessings, of course. I'm going to speak with him, and there's another brother that I want to speak with that we're going to start working with. And we want them brothers to come over here and give interviews and, you know, give their take on their information as well. So the channel's open, you know what I'm saying? And Plumantis, you can go ahead and get that started by going over there and sending a message and let them know I said what I said. You know what I'm saying? The brother also said another thing I was hoping our community could do was looking up the descendants of Uncle Billy or looking up the Rechabite Jews, or at least trying to find them. Yeah, that can be a project we can do on the side. You know, so a lot of this stuff is scant information. And we do our best to pull from the resources that we have and to disseminate information and build our models here at the source. So what we're doing is unprecedented because, like I said, if you go look at your dagger frauds, your Team Osiris's, or even Sarnetta, they built their whole brand off of sensationalism. We're changing the game because we're trying to build a brand off of source material. That's why we got the name source. It's all about what you can prove, what you can show. Presentation is key. It's key. You know what I'm saying? And the first part was a success, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna continue to do stuff like this and break down even more books once we finish Dr. Bruder's book. All right. You got anything you want to say before we get started, Jeremiah?
Yeah, man. Powerful words, man. I definitely think that that it need to be reiterated that we are willing to work with the other brothers in the community. We're gonna be doing our due diligence to reach out to brothers and opening up our platform as well. You understand? Because we are fans of the information. You see, so we're gonna be working diligently, man, to forge those relationships, man, and continue to bring you more powerful information. We already got books lined up, man. We got a multitude of books to choose from. So we're looking for the next topic as well as we continue to hammer this thing home. Hey, man, look, man, I'm excited about 3, 4, and 5, man. Let's go.
Let's get it. All right, man. We ain't gonna hold these people up any longer. We're gonna go straight to it. The nitty gritty. You know how we get down. So let's get right to it. Let's get that PowerPoint popping. Yeah. Y'all know what's going on over here, man, at the source. Show me another platform that got this much dedication, man. Come on, man. Stop playing with us. So we're dealing with Black Jews of Africa. I need my reader to actually take me to the page that I'm on. I guess it's not going to do that. So let's just go all the way to slide. I think it's 34. We'll get there. Yeah, man. So this book has so many jewels in it, and it's just, here we go. Chapter 3, the mythography of Africa. So many jewels in it. So much information that she compiled. Like I said, this is Bruder's. This book stems from her doctoral thesis that she wrote under the supervision of Tudor Parfit. This is what actually got her PhD at London University. So, I mean, this topic, to be that good of a topic and actually give someone their PhD, speaks volumes. But with no further ado, let's get right into it. Y'all came here to see the highlights. This is chapter 3, the mythography of Africa. Let's get it. Hold on now. Before we get into the mythography and the myths, we're gonna chop a fable. We're gonna chop up this fable like my big bro Loaded Lux say. You understand? Because people see the word myth and think it means pure fiction. You know what I'm saying? They see it in her book and they say, well, she said it's a myth, so it got to be fake. That is not what Dr. Bruder is insinuating when she uses the word myth. If you go to page number 98 in the Black Jews of Africa, it states, following Mircea Eliade, I'm using the concept of myth, which reveals a living pattern rather than a pure fiction. This is her own words in the book. So she's not saying a myth. When she uses the word myth, she's not saying it's pure fiction. She's not saying it at all. In a quotation from Miss Eliade, says, as a sacred history and therefore a true history, because it always refers to realities and at the same time reveals the eruption of the sacred into the world. And again, that's page number 98 of the book that we're doing the highlights on. And when we read the introduction, page number 3, I can tell you people didn't read the book because in page number 3, it tells you, and she gives a quote from Sigmund Freud, but with this content, one will commit unfairness similar to the thoughtless rejection of material legends, traditions, and interpretations of people's prehistory. Despite all distortions and misunderstandings, it is through them that the reality of the past is represented. So obviously she prefaced the whole book with this because she was going to be dealing with what? Legends, traditions, interpretations of people's prehistory, and myths. And she's not going to just reject it. It reads, they are what people formed from original experience under control of once powerful and still efficient motivations. And if one could only, through the knowledge of all operating forces, counsel these distortions, one could be able to discover the historical truth behind this legendary material. So this
Right.
is why
That's important, man.
Come on, man.
That's important because on the other end, you have myths that are created negatively, right? To convey a certain level of supremacy, right? And also to denigrate those in whom they're speaking of, right? So we're going to get both sides of that. What we're about to go into, you're going to get a taste of both. But the most important part, Brother Joshua, is when you said we're going to go behind the myth. That's what's important.
Mm-hmm. Right, because again, when she says myth, she's not saying it's pure fiction. She's saying there's reality within that myth. What these brothers do, they see the word myth and they discount everything that was said. Don't even consider it as history. Don't even consider it as reality. That is not what Bruder is saying.
Right.
You are misrepresenting her works. Shout out Chris Harris. Let's go. The first highlight is scant medieval knowledge of Africa. This is page number 25. And it says, what did people in early medieval times really know about Africa and Africans? Almost nothing. Through geographical errors and confusion between India and Ethiopia, Africa, biblical traditions about the presence of Jews in the land of the son of Cush, the legend of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, and the location of Ophir in Africa came to be set pieces in the repertoire of Jewish and Christian ethnography of Africa. So she's opening up the book and breaking down a lot of the legends and myths and traditions that are tied to Africa, and also the ignorance of the early medieval people, in particular Europe, right? Europeans, and their lack of knowledge. And they have to rely on this mythos or these legends to understand Africa, right? So let's go on. Same page, page number 25. Use of the term Ethiopia up to the 16th century was characterized by geographical errors and confusions between India and Ethiopia and Africa. And before I finish, we also are within our right to review this information under the Fair Use Act, right? Under the Fair Use Act, we can do commentary, reviews, and so on and so forth. So we're well within our right to review this information. I want to let that be known and put that out there. All right, I'm going to continue. India of geographers.
Hold up, Joshua. Let me go ahead and flash that on the screen real quick. You know what I'm saying? We got the Fair Use Act. Boom. All right.
Yeah, right there. So we're well within our right to review this material and add commentary. India of geographers of the late Latinity was a land of Asia divided into three areas on the two shores of the Indian Mediterranean. For Greco-Latin authors and their medieval successors, with such uncertain and inaccurate data, Ethiopia characterized the part of African continent inhabited by dark-skinned people. Ethiopia is thus defined by its population whose skin color would be essential for the elaboration of the images of the Ethiops. All right. That's page 25 as well. These are the things that stood out to me. I want to bring and share with you guys. Keep reading. Same page 25. There was a lot of stuff that stood out to me on page 25.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm not trying to overstep you either. I'm just trying to see if you go cover it. And but you're doing a great job, bro.
Oh, okay. You didn't want to add. Okay. Let me read on. And if I'm rushing, it sounds like I rush. Just stop me, brother, and we can slow it down. But it says through travelers, merchants, or missionaries, contacts with Africa other than North Africa were rare until the 15th century. You know what that also kills right there? The notion that, well, these people got these ideas from Europeans,
right?
From a long time ago. They just spread Christianity and all that to them, you know. prior to the 15th century, but there's no history to back that up. You didn't start getting heavy European influence until after the 15th century. You understand? Especially Western Sub-Saharan Africa. You know what I'm saying? So that just cuts
Right,
that notion all the way up.
which also leads to wild speculation concerning the Saharan Africans, right? You know, and alluding to their appearance. This is why I said what I said about certain myths or mythos being created. You're going to see, as we cover this, based upon appearance, right? Based upon the fact that these people look different from the people of medieval Europe. You understand? So again, it says what? Through travel, merchants, through travel, those travelers, merchants, and missionaries contact with Africa, other than North Africa, were what? Rare until the 15th century. So everything prior to that left open room for much speculation concerning the people and their practices. I yield.
Facts, you know, big facts. So yeah, it's, like you said, the realm of speculation. You know what I'm saying? The people that were bound in Europe did not have any information until the 15th century and onward. All right. It says,
yeah, so like, let me say this too real quick. This is why as far as what we call modern research is really European research and what is being validated from them being the primary force for information on the planet based upon white supremacy. You understand? Them not having that interaction prior to the 15th century. We're not saying nothing didn't exist before that. We're saying for it to be accepted. See, there's a lot of information out here, right? But all information is not accepted. And when we say accepted, that means it's accepted by the European powers, right? Coming from them, if somebody presents something and they don't approve it or they don't accept it, then it's shunned in the so-called scholastic community, right? This is something that we have to pay very close attention to, because that causes a certain bias when it comes to the research that we're doing here at the source. So you might come with something that is counter to what we're saying, but you have to understand what stance is it coming from, and most likely it's coming from a white supremacy narrative. I yield.
I can tell you read the chapters. I can tell the language is a giveaway. Yeah, we gonna get into all of that, man. It's gonna be a long night. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, absolutely, brother. These misconceptions do come from the ignorance of medieval Europeans, and a lot of the misconceptions are reverberated in today's time.
Right.
We're gonna get to shout out to Matt Salah, because one of them he used. He don't even know he used it.
Right.
So let's get into it. It says, due to both to natural obstacles such as the sea and the desert, and to the political and cultural barrier of Islam. So the Islamic nation, the Ottomans and all that, they were holding Africa down. Like, them dudes cannot come down.
I was gonna say, man, shout out to the Islamic man. Listen, when you're talking about information that actually rivals what's coming out of Europe, those dudes did a masterful job as far as documenting their interactions with Africa. A lot of our sources and a lot of things that validate some of the points that we're making, we can go to their sources to get validation, because they're substantiating the things that we're saying here. And contrary to the European structure, right? So, yeah, man, shout out to them, man.
Yeah. And a quick side note on that: if you look up Al-Tabari, the historian, while Europe was Europeanizing our writings and saying that, oh well, Shem and the Jews were white, you had Al-Tabari, an Arabian historian, saying that Shem was black.
Right.
You had to understand stuff like that. So it's very imperative that we reflect on the Arabic writings as well, manuscripts, because they were recording history and had more time to actually observe Africa, because they, you know what I'm saying, like I said, the barrier of Islam, they wasn't letting them Christendom dudes come down there with the, with their Catholicism, you know what I'm saying? So that created a barrier into the 15th century. But reading on, in the High Middle Ages, the Eastern world beyond Islam was therefore practically unknown.
Right.
And from the conquest of Egypt by the Muslims in AD 641, Africa and the Indian Ocean were beyond the horizon of Western Christians. Their source of knowledge about Africa was therefore essentially books, the Bible, classical writings, mainly Homer, Herodotus, Pliny, and Ptolemy, whose texts provided the medieval and interpretations about Africa. So a lot of the things that these guys were saying were limited because they did not get a direct experience of Africa like the Arabs. What's going on?
Right. Thus, furthering the misconceptions and myths that was developed from medieval Europe, man.
Facts.
Right. And a lot of these brothers that are that are in opposition to the information that we bring forth, they are drawing from those medieval sources, man. It's unbelievable. You be like, yo, man, where do you get that from, man? Oh, yeah, it's come from Homer. Oh, right. This come from Herodotus. You know, this is the type of stuff that's going on.
All right. It says some of the embryonic notions. Embryonic just mean early stages, right? The embryonic notions from which the Western imagination developed its myths about Africa were derived from these texts. Homer's assertion in the Odyssey that there were two Ethiopias, one in the west and one in the east, both extremities of the earth, was the basis for a number of later descriptions of Africa. Beginning with Herodotus in the 5th century and continuing up to the 15th century, it is introduced the concept of two Africas. Page 26.
Yeah, page 26.
Okay, so we're going to go into the nature of the two Africas, right? It says Homer's description, albeit mythical, was nevertheless inspired by two historical realities. The powerful Cushitic Empire of Meroe on the Nubian Nile, whose inhabitants were perceived as being civilized. It says the admirable Ethiopians of the East opposed to the nomadic tribes of the Saharan and sub-Saharan regions, who became the other Ethiopians of the West, and who are often as being savage, bestial, and treacherous.
Now, hold up, man. That's really amazing. And it's almost like they're going directly. And tell me what you think about this, Joshua. It's like they're okay with Ham, but they got a problem with Israel, man. Right? So some of these areas that these savage commentaries were coming about were those of the diaspora and some of the areas that they inhabited. You understand? And because even as we read on, you're going to see them speak favorably about the Ethiopians. You understand? But when it comes to those West Africans, you understand, certain regions in the West, they're not speaking so highly of, right? And that's one thing I noticed as I'm reading here, man. But go ahead.
Right. I also want to read this, but I'm going to much more depth later on once we get to the part of the chapter. The bestial people, what I would say, again, this comes from the concept that all Africans are the same, and this is why I want to debate anybody that carries that notion. Because if you say that you guys can't be Jews, you African, you're implying that all Africans are the same. Now, why do I say that? Because you do have primitive Africans in Africa. You do have them. And most of them are not our people. They're A and B haplogroups. You understand? Haplogroup E brought iron civilization forming and so on and so forth into Africa and dominated Africa.
Metallurgy,
irrigation. We can keep going and going, right? Pyrotechnologies. So there is a delineation between the people in Africa, but the thing about this is they wasn't using they didn't have no methodology to distinguish who was who. They just put everybody in a box, and they were, well, these are the civilized ones and these are the uncivilized ones, and I think that's where they fall short. But reading on, it says, in short, the known side of Africa was considered the more or less an extension of Christendom, the unknown, the epitome of barbarism. All right, we can keep going. The notion of a welcoming paradise on earth coexisting with a barbarian Africa flowed through history and literature and can be found again and again in numerous fictional journeys. Malvern Van Wyck-Smith writes, thus Homer's division, nourished by a European propensity toward binary thinking, continued to develop into the most powerful European myths about Africa growing over the centuries into the elaborate ameliorative mythologies of a terrestrial paradise at the source of the Nile, beyond the mountains of the moon, into the legends associated with Prester John and Abyssinia, of Monomotapa, of Sofala or Zimbabwe as King Solomon's Ophir. And that's page number 27. So this is fanciful stories about these different areas and where they derive from, right? Defining the Hamitic hypothesis, right? It says the literature produced by the colonization and exploration of Africa maintained dramatically this polarity of perception. Africa was reified both as a geographical topos and as an imaginary space. This is perhaps best typified in the evolution in the course of the 19th century of a myth known as the Hamitic hypothesis. In familiar dualistic movement, this modern myth asserted that light-skinned people of Caucasoid origins had, in times past, spread across Africa where they were capable of developing high civilization. The myth maintained that they were dramatically different from Negroid savage local people with whom they gradually interbred before denigrating. Now, what I find interesting about the Hamitic hypothesis, I mean, every time we mention this, Jeremiah, I say, look, we don't follow the Hamitic hypothesis because we're not saying those people that brought in civilization were Europeans, one. Secondly, we're not saying those people that brought in civilization were Hamites. We're not saying that either. We're saying those people that brought in civilization were Shemites.
Right.
Big, huge contrast, big difference, right? So a lot of people try to throw this Hamitic hypothesis on us. We're not using it. If anything, you guys are using it. I know Matt is using the Hamitic hypothesis because he's saying that if you want to learn about the history, just read about Ham. That comes from the Hamitic hypothesis as well. But we also know there's another side of the Hamitic hypothesis that says, well, Ham is the civilized people, or who are the uncivilized Africans? They say the uncivilized Africans are the beasts of the field. If you follow the roots of this thing, they're not even other sons.
Because I'm going to go back to real quick to page 26 to bring something out. But to land me back on what you just said about civilization, right? You know that we the source, right?
We the source, man.
Source. That's right, man. So I'm going into the book of Josephus, and I'm looking at this historian, first century historian, Josephus. And believe me, brother, what I'm about to read, these Negroes don't like this.
You Negroes can't refute
this. They don't like this, what I'm about to read about our ancestor, Abraham, right? So I'm going to page, let's see here.
Hey, we need to clip from Sitting Sideways from Big Pokey when he say SUC up in the place. We need that little clip. Every time we shout out SUC, we can play that clip on here, man.
Yeah.
We gonna put it in your face. Hey, that's my stuff, man. Hey, you got it?
It says, say something real quick, man. Let me find this real quick.
If I think I know where you're going, does it start with an A? Are you talking about one of
I got it. All right. All praise be to the Most High. Yeah. This is Antiquity of the Jews, chapter 8, section 2. Right? It says, for wherein the Egyptians were formerly addicted to different customs and despised one another's sacred rites and accustomed, it's like a sacred and accustomed rites, and were very angry one with another. On that account, Abraham or Abram conferred with each of them, and conferring with them to utilize reason, they made use of every one for their own practices, right? And demonstrating that such reasoning were vain and void of truth. Whereupon he was admired by them in those conferences as a very wise man and one of great substance. When he discoursed on any subject he undertook, and this not only in understanding it, but in persuading other men also to ascend to it. He communicated to them, listen at this, Joshua. He communicated to them. Remember, Abraham came from the Chaldeans, right?
Right.
He came from that region. It says here, he communicated to them arithmetic and delivered to them the science of astronomy. For before Abraham came into Egypt, they were unacquainted with those parts of learning. For that science came from the Chaldees into Egypt, and from thence to the Greeks also. See that? So what the statement the brother made.
That's powerful information. But while you're saying that, we have a hater that's saying, now they're questioning the author. Where did she get these sources from? I see what I'm saying. These guys are so phony, man. These guys are so phony. You was up in this book. Now we reading the book. Yeah, you read this book, y'all ain't gonna believe no more. We reading the book and we getting good information from it now. Where she get her sources from? We need to vet her.
Oh, you Negroes are something else.
But powerful quote. I remember that we used to bring that out in the street, years ago.
Yes, you made a statement. You said that we're saying that these particular things come from Shem.
Well, exactly. So how are we following the genetic hypothesis? How? We're saying Shem did it. You're not
saying. Exactly. But they equate. The problem is, family, for those that are listening, they equate any dark-skinned or melanated person with Africa. And that's a misnomer. And you need to understand that. Because the original peoples of the so-called Middle East were people of color. Not these modern day sand-colored people, okay? But dark, heavily melanated brothers, right? And so if we use the word brother, they say, well, they wasn't Negroid. They wasn't Negroid. They was absolutely Negroid. Yes, we're saying that.
I mean, the
right?
earliest inhabitants of Levant, the Natufians were their skeletons and their morphology, the shape and form of it was Negroid and sub-Saharan African. So that's a fact.
Fact, fact.
Uh,
Real quick, one more thing, right? It says this, and it talks about on page 26. It says, on the other hand, he described Ethiopians. Remember, he said it was two types, right? So he says, on the other hand, he described Ethiopian tribes spreading out over the south and the west, right? Because Ethiopia was a name that they classified the entire continent of Africa, especially sub-Saharan. They just call them all Ethiopian. Yeah, oh, that's why I'm saying, oh, there was two types of Ethiopian, right? Ethiopian only means black, family. That's what it means, right? So it says, on the other hand, he described Ethiopian tribes spreading out over the south and the west of Ethiopia as being of black color and having flat noses and woolly hair, right? And totally savage, right? And exhibited a nature of wild beasts. This is that mythos. This is myth. This is the myth part where they didn't have very much knowledge of what was going on with these people. But we can go into those areas in which they're classifying them as exhibiting a nature or a nature of being wild beasts or a natural beast, right? Exhibiting a nature of wild beast. You're making that statement about these people because you're ignorant to the customs and the culture and the cultural practices of these people. This is what's going on. This is what the myth entails. That same myth is now coming out of the mouths of you Negroes in America.
Yep. They blanket all Africa, majority of Africa as being primitive and being inhabited by these people that are less than or base. But the only reason Africa is like that now, especially where our people were coming from, like the coast of Guinea, Gold Coast, Nigeria, so on and so forth, is because of colonialism. They came to there, ripped and robbed and pillaged and destroyed everything, and now it's in ruins. So now, look, they always been like this. No, that's not true. That's not true.
Right. They're looking at those regions saying, wow, this place is a disaster. You made it a disaster. What the hell is wrong with you, man? You come in here to destroy and then try to classify if you didn't destroy this place. You know what I'm saying? They send the military in there, they destroy the place, then they send the writers in behind them to write and document how the place looks. That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, man. They did that. They something else, man. They did a number on us. But let's move forward. We'll be on this slide 2 years. We'll be breaking this Semitic hypothesis down. The point is, this is what they were teaching, and they were saying that the light-skinned people were the smart ones. And before we move on, just one more thing. EMAC, this is what you teach. You teach the Hamitic hypothesis too, man. That's the same thing that comes out your mouth. Well, you guys come from these primitive people that were living like beasts in sub-Saharan Africa. Y'all wasn't in Egypt. Y'all wasn't. Man, our DNA's in Egypt. Our DNA's in Levant. Our DNA is up there in Italy, man. Stop playing with us. And we got fruit, fauna, and flora from the Levant, and they're saying the only way it could have got there is through maritime trade. Right. And this is within 500 BCE. We'll do a maritime trade, man. But that's for a whole nother story. When we talk about bananas, coconuts, how it get to sub-Saharan Africa. That's another story. Let's keep going. Oh, go ahead, brother.
I think that's this is something that shout out to Kyle, man. This is something that he propagates about this light-skinned people that had a higher civilization. That's who he's calling Israelites or Berbers, right? They came in and they built these civilizations, but they wasn't Negro.
Yeah, he always did. You're not related to these people. You are a victim of the Hamitic hypothesis, brother.
Right.
Because what we push here and what's going to Bruder is going to actually go into a little later is that these people have a range of phenotypes. You can't just put one phenotype on these people and say, well, this phenotype built this. This phenotype is responsible for this. No, these people could look light, dark, whatever, because we have that genetic diversity. Africa is the most genetic diverse continent on the planet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why you can get the Khoisan looking Chinese. They look at the Khoisan. They very look Chinese. A lot of them look Chinese, man. Or should I say the Chinese look like the Khoisan, since they said the Khoisan is older. So you can get a variety of looks. You can get people that look Caucasian coming from African haplogroups. We brought them up. What's that actor that played on the Da Vinci Code? What's his name? Da Vinci Code. What's his name?
The main guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played in Castaway. Tom Hanks.
Not Tom Hanks. Lyndon B. Johnson is another one. He has an African haplogroup. I can't think of the brother name right now. But he has an African haplogroup.
Right, that's Tom Hanks.
The Da Vinci Code. You know, he playing every movie that got mysteries and you know the brother, man. This is when you think of
black dude?
No, he white. You gonna make me pull up. You gonna make me stop the regular program and find this. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna never get off this slide. You know?
Right. We knew it was gonna be a long night.
We get to the Hamitic hypothesis. See that you got to unpack that thing. You can't just you know what I'm saying. You can't just speed by that. So I did a lesson a few months ago about phenotypes do not matter. This guy, Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage has an African haplogroup E1B1B, right? Look how he looks.
Hold on, man. Nicolas Cage was not in the Da Vinci Code, man. What the hell's wrong with you, brother?
Oh, my bad.
You going off, man.
Hey, what that scripture say? I might be wrong in tongue, but not in the heart. I forget that. I forgot. You know, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
I might make a mistake in
I
my
know
words.
Yeah.
But this is him. Nicolas Cage, man. Your haplogroup E1B1. And guess who else? Adolf Hitler. Haplogroup E1B1B. Come on, man. So you can't judge people solely on phenotype, man. And here goes some more E1B1B people right here. Modern day Ethiopians. Some of them have E1B1B. This is why you can't judge solely on phenotype. You can't say, well, this phenotype's responsible for this. Kyle gonna tell you, well, when we're talking about black Jews, we're talking about the ones with straight noses and stringy hair. So you can't be them people. The phenotype argument is the weakest argument ever, and it comes from this old Hamitic hypothesis. It comes from this Hamite way of thinking. Hamites are those with Caucasoid features, and then the other Africans are just damn beasts. They don't even give them one of the sons of Jacob. They just say they damn beast. Right. Stop it. All right, back to your regular scheduled program. All right, so that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Hamitic hypothesis. Let's keep going. Chapter 4. That's all I had on chapter 3. If you had anything else you want to expound on chapter 3, you can do it now, brother. We can move on to chapter 4.
Yeah, no, we good.
Okay, so chapter 4 is dealing with the legend of Solomon and the Queen Sheba.
Yo, man, did we have a debate on the source about this?
Yes, we did. Zion versus the middleweight champion, King Self.
Right.
And basically, King Self was saying that Bakiba Nagas and the story about them being Jews was false, and the other brother was saying it was true. I'm in the middle on that. I'm on the fence on that for the simple fact that I don't know if he had children with him. It's possible, you know what I'm saying? It's in the realm of possibility, but it's kind of hard to, get any concrete facts on that. Do I believe Jews?
I don't know, man. Did this woman even? Who is this woman, man? Who's the Queen of Sheba, man? Who's that?
Man, I think it was a queen of Sheba, but it was in Arabia. And this is a whole different story. Let's just get into the book. You know what I'm saying? let's not go down that road again. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, we was all in the back chat, like, man, I don't know about this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is page number 29, and it's dealing with the King Solomon mythos. It says traditions built around the biblical story of King Solomon have been invoked to explain Africa's past. Who could even think of the lost Jewish tribes in Africa without recalling the old belief that the gold-bearing regions of Southeast Africa were none other than the biblical Ophir? As a source of dreams and fantasies, the biblical episode of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba played a major role in the Western perception of the continent from Ethiopia to Southern Africa. Not only the country in its history, but also, as we shall see, its inhabitants. So people have been making a connection with Solomon, bringing out ships with King Hanan, which I believe is an Israelite as well. If we follow and believe what Josephus said about him, right? And they took Phoenicians and inhabited certain portions of Africa. And I mean, it would only make sense if they did inhabit it. That's just my personal view and my stance. Let's keep going. If you don't have anything to add to that, brother.
No, go ahead, brother.
This myth, remember, when she uses myth, it doesn't mean pure fake.
Did you already passed the first page?
20. No, I'm still on 29.
Okay, go ahead.
This myth, which serves as a myth of origin in African tradition, is referred to in the Book of Kings and in Chronicles, and mention the Queen of Sheba's visit to Solomon in Jerusalem in the 10th century BC. Same page, 29. We know practically nothing about Sheba, this kingdom in southern Arabia before 8th century BC, because there is no mention of a queen in Sabian inscriptions. On the other hand,
that's why I said what I said. Because when I'm reading, like, who the hell is this Queen of Sheba, brother? Who is this?
yeah, we have no evidence for her in the time period that she's supposed to live, but that's an argument for silence, man. I'm not going to say that she's fake just because of that.
Right.
I think a lot of people make that mistake. You know what I'm saying? They use the argument of silence. Well, we don't have no writings. Okay, that means we can't say for 100% that she did exist, and we can't say 100% that she don't exist. You know what I'm saying? But maybe it was all fabricated. I don't know. I'm not speaking in absolutes here.
Well, let me ask you this, man. Is it her son was supposed to be Abimelech, right?
According to the Kibra Nagas. Now that comes way later. I'm doubtful about that. I think that Jews did go down to Ethiopia. Matter of fact, I know Jews went down to Ethiopia. We got enough history.
Right, fact.
And maybe they just attributed that. Oh, we don't have a time machine to jump in and verify this stuff.
Right. These niggas want direct answers, brother. They want you to tell the actual factual, brother.
Look, man, from what I read,
you got to go into Solomon's bedroom to see if something took place.
I know. I remember people back in the day when I was first introduced to being an Israelite and everything was saying, well, if she went to if it says she fulfilled all his desires, whatever it says, right? That has to talk about sex. I'm like, how? What? I don't understand that logic. But I mean, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, bro. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole on Sheba, man. Look, Bruder wrote what she wrote. There was no
right. Moving on.
There was no evidence before the 8th century queens of Sheba. So there you have it. It says, on the other hand, there were queens in the North Arabian kingdoms of Sheba during the 8th century BC, as attested by Tiglath-Pileser annals. So what we do have archaeological records stating that they did have queens. So we don't have it during the time period of Solomon. All right. The Kibra Nagas and the Solomon mythos. This is page number 30. The meeting of Solomon, the ruler of Israel in the 10th century BC, with the Queen of Sheba was described in more detail in one of the fundamental texts of the Ethiopian kingship, the Kibra Nagas. This text, having praised the two royal figures, recounts the conversion to Judaism of the Queen of Sheba, who, after returning to her country, gave birth to Menelik I, the son of Solomon and the founder of the Ethiopian royal lineage. The Kebra Nagast records that Solomon ordered a group of Jewish to accompany the Queen of Sheba and charge them with the education of his son. I believe that's supposed to say a group of Jewish soldiers. So shout out to Chris Harris. I left the word out.
Hold up, man. I'm looking right at it, man. You
Yeah,
said
page number 30.
group?
Yeah,
I'm looking right at it. Queen of Sheba, who returned to her country and gave birth to Menelik, the son of Solomon, the founder of the Ethiopian royal lineage. The Kebra Kosh records that the Solomon ordered a group of Jewish priests.
Okay, priest. Yeah, man. I hand typed everything in because I that's the only way I could do this time. So yeah, I left a word out. Well, big whoop, man. I did pretty good on precision.
Yeah, that's plagiarism, brother. That's plagiarism, brother.
That's plagiarism. Somebody called the police, man. Press charges. Right. I committed plagiarism. Anybody knows my background. I work long hours, and I try to be as dedicated as I can and put as much work and precision in these things as I can. But sometimes I fall. Big whoop. Let's keep reading. So we know what that says. Jewish priest there. Judaism thus allegedly became the religion of the royal family and the aristocrats in Ethiopia until their conversion to Christianity. A.D., the beginning of the Christian era.
Page number 30. I definitely had that. Highlighted, right? So they're saying, would this fall under the realms of the conversion argument?
To an extent, yeah, but also it would be talking about actual Jewish priests,
right,
living in Ethiopia. So these are bloodline descendants, and also Menelik. If the story is true, Menelik first would be a bloodline descendant, and also that would become an auxiliary outpost. Then you would have more Jews coming out there because it's family there. I can come out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's not what the people in Ethiopia are ultimately saying. There's a group there that's not saying. There's a group that's saying that they migrated from the land. You know what I mean?
I think that's more. I don't want to say realistic. I'm not going to say the other one's not plausible. I'm going to say that's the one that I side with more. Jews migrating into Ethiopia, whatnot. We had Jews in Elephantine. Why not have Jews in Ethiopia? I mean, it's not a big stretch. And the scriptures also say we was there. So come on now. So on page 30, it says, after this, Judaism endured only in the small caste of the Phalasha until its extinction under Haile Selassie. This dynasty had adopted the conquering land of Judah as the imperial emblem, which is also the emblem of the city of Jerusalem. So, exactly. So, according to the narrative that they had, Judaism would have been in Ethiopia for a long time.
Right.
They're saying before Christianity. They're saying if you invoking Solomon, you're talking about from the 10th century BC all the way to the time of Haile Selassie, according to these guys.
Right. Because you asked, according to Black Jesus Minister, the white man came on the scene in 800.
800 CE?
Yeah.
No, bro. No. Hey, Black Jesus Minister, you're gonna have to come on the show and explain that, man. You're gonna have to break that down, brother.
That's what he's trying to assert that you said in y'all debate.
Oh no, I never said that.
Yeah, I know.
You know what happens when I debate people? The information fly over their head and they misunderstand it. So their misunderstanding becomes a knock on my scholarship. No. You just misunderstand the information. I know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's just light years ahead of what you're doing. But anyway, you got anything else you want to talk about on this page right here?
No. Great job.
All right. So page number 30, Phoenicians and Solomon. It is also in the book of Kings that the idea of Solomon going to Africa in search of gold with the help of Hiram, king of the Phoenicians, can be found. And like I said, Hiram, according to Josephus' account, would have been also an Israelite as well. It says, and King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezion Geber, which is beside Eloth, on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom. And Hiram sent in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea with the servants of Solomon, and they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and brought it to King Solomon. This is why, also side note, has nothing to do with what Edith Bruder is saying, but this is why I postulate that our people are maritime because of this history. And this is why we see our DNA remnant and vestiges and all the way up on the coast of Italy. You know what I'm saying? On Sicilia, on the island of Sicilia, we see E1B1A and EV12 DNA. So it's obvious that our people in times past were engaged in some kind of maritime trade, and that's what the Bible was actually reflecting. So I think it's a harmonious thing between a harmonious parallel between the two. You understand? But that's just my thoughts on that verse, not really what Edith Bruder is pointing out here. You got anything you want to add to this, brother?
Yeah, man. And we have to take those things in consideration. It's very likely, because they try to say, yeah, it was an argument that we was having, man. Like, yeah, you know, the Israelites had to rely on Phoenicians. They never had their own ships. They never traveled. They were never seafaring at all, you know, and they had to buy ships from Phoenicians. You understand? Even though it was a working relationship with Phoenicia, right? But there was other coastal cities that was and tribes of the Northern Kingdom that their trade was fishing. You understand? In the borders of the Mediterranean Sea. So come on, man. We can go all the way back into the sons of Jacob with some of the practices of the patriarchs, man, as far as building ships. Naphtali. Right? So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, and Zebulun is a haven of ships. That's what it says.
Right.
So that would mean the Israelites were expected to be a maritime people.
Right.
And that's what we see with King Solomon. That's what we see, in our model, we say E, where descendants of E would have been Israelites. Some of the descendants of E would have been Israelites. So we can see that DNA all the way in Sicilia, man. And that's what killed Garfield. Remember, Garfield said, oh, well, haplogroup E1B1A was stuck in Africa for 10,000 years, brother. I was like, okay, so why we got DNA, according to their dates, in Sicilia going back 7,000 years, according to their dates? Crushed them, killed them, dead. That's why the brother don't want to debate, man. But that's a whole nother thing, man. I want to be on this slide all night. Let's go. We're going to be here all night, man. All right, let's keep going. The legend of Solomon reflected in other cultures. All right, so it says literature and art, both in the West and in the East, adopted the legend of Solomon's encounter with the Queen of Sheba, to whom Islamic tradition gave the beautiful name Bilqis. I don't know how to say that, so if anybody don't get offended if you're dealing with the Quran or whatnot. You see it right there, Bilqis. The Islamic world knew an abundance of legends about their encounter, of which Muhammad gave a shortened version in Surah, the Ants, verses 15 to 44. It says, in which we find in more detail in texts by Arab historians such as Tabari. This implies that the legend of Solomon, check this out. The legend of Solomon, the Queen of Sheba, originated in Ethiopia, had reached Arabia before the rise of Islam. So you brothers cannot run out there and teach the people that the only reason they know about Solomon and Sheba or these stories is because of Islam. You know what I'm saying? Because it was already in Arabia and Ethiopia. So you can knock that out of your repertoire.
Right.
That's also page number 30. Did you have any comments or you want to add to that, brother?
No. Let's move on.
Solomon was revered, as we read right here. It says Solomon holds a prime place in the Muslim tradition among the great leaders of people. Nimrod, Nebuchadnezzar, and Alexander the Great. He is the most glorious. And the Arabic legend magnifies his actions and his wonderful magic powers. He is thus credited with having built, with the help of an army of jinn and other fabulous spirits from Arabic legend, the pre-Islamic temple of Marib for the queen in Yemen. So we can see that the Arabic tradition kind of spiced things up, to say the least. You know, throwing their jinns in there and saying that he was involved with using these magical powers. And that was another thing, you know, when we read the Kibra Nagas, I was looking at it, that he was doing, and it's just some weird things in there about him, his ability to speak to animals. So yeah, that Kibra Nagas is all over the place.
Yeah, man. And that's a lot of mysticism surrounding Solomon, concerning that he was knee deep in witchcraft and conjuring demons, and this is how he was able to build the first temple and what it called elevating stones and having them hover over the ground. Like it's all kind of it's all kind of stuff going on using that. But you have to remember, during that time, Solomon was in his right mind, according to the biblical narrative. You understand? It wasn't until later on, with the old age, that he started dealing with different gods and idols and stuff. That was he became an old fool. You understand? Right? So all we're saying is that you're trying to equate the youth of Solomon with when he was at his height in his relationship with his creator. You understand? So I'm just defending the biblical narrative and understanding the story of Solomon within itself. You can't create some new narrative. The Most High wouldn't have had a relationship with him to the capacity in which he did if he was doing those things in his youth. Because the minute he started doing those things, the Most High separated him from him.
Yeah. So that's what makes it incompatible, in my view. All of these fanciful stories that they added to it. Somebody said, shout out to Ahia be praised. I told you he the sixth man of the source. You know what I'm saying? He says how to pronounce that word is Bilqis. Bilqis. All right. They called her Bilqis. Thank you, brother.
Come to water.
Let's go. Mythos is page number 31 in its connection to the Great Zimbabwe. Harry Norris claims to identify the first descriptions of the monumental construction of Great Zimbabwe in a 14th century Arabic text, and demonstrated the long-standing nature of the assertion that it had been built by King Solomon and the son of King David. Indeed, according to Norris, the Arab Chanson de Geste Sirah, Antara, describes the conquest by the mythical hero Antara ibn Shaid of a stone-built African city, the monolith's fortress, one of the capitals of King Human. Antara, the hero of this epic tale, gives a precise description of the city, including both the topography and the architectural outline of Great Zimbabwe. All right. Harry Norris's account. It says King Humam, had a city which was built of white stone. There was no other like it in that land. By report, it was attributed to jinn builders who raised it for our Lord Solomon. King David.
Hold up, Ox. Here we go. Now, then we had a conversation with a brother. Shout out to yo, man, shout out to Deron Tillis, man. Right? Deron Tillis always talking about some jinn. If something, mystical happened in the Torah, first thing Deron says, there was jinns. So again, I'm trying to figure out like where, because I asked the brother, yo, where are you getting this from, bro? You understand? So, shout out to the brother. Clearly, there are certain types of writings which are mythos.
Mm-hmm.
So, not all mythos are founded in falsehood, but some mythos is falsehood. So we have to take that in consideration and evaluate these things and use logic and reasoning, right? And the historical merit in order for us to understand these things and comprehend them as we should.
Right. Gin builders rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, laid back.
Right.
All right. It says, reading on, it says, near to that city was a hill which rose up like a pyramid. It was covered with vegetation and impressively sown with every kind of tree and bush. In the middle of that hill stood an upright sword over which a bird constantly hovered. None could pass that sword save him who was clad in white raiment. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Same page. The search for gold. Here it is. This idea that Solomon acquired gold and wealth from Africa contributed to the notion that the location was Ophir, the land of biblical gold at the tip of Africa. It was both conveyed by the Portuguese navigators and confirmed by the Arabs they met there, which helped feed this myth that grew even stronger through the centuries.
I had to highlight that. I was like, yo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And there's some truth to that, I believe, because I mean, Africa is inundated, it's stockpiled with raw what's the word I'm looking for? Raw minerals. You know what I'm saying? It's a very rich continent. So I mean, if you want to draw a conclusion and say, okay, where is this at? Then maybe that is it. I'm not saying anything in absolutes, of course, but
right.
Hey, it's got a lot going for it.
Yeah, man. I mean, even if we're just taking into consideration the location, right? Can we go back into antiquity and see, was this place known for gold? Yes. You understand? So, again, this is under the a section of mythos, but some of these things can be substantiated and validated.
Right. It says the earliest written information on the interior of this part of Africa came from the records of Portuguese explorers who established a trading post in Sofala on the southeastern coast of East Africa in order to control the gold trade. Mines presumed to be the possession of Solomon. It says when João de Barros, this is page number 32, João de Barros in 1552 published the first decades of Asia, the most complete and precise document on the Portuguese wrote of ruins and mines. And these mines are the oldest in the country. The natives call all this edifice Simbaio, which, according to their language, means court. It would seem that some prince who had possession of mines ordered it to be built as a sign thereof. In 1609, João dos Santos in the Ethiopian Oriental.
Hey man, what the hell you just say?
João dos Santos.
Yo, real quick, right? For a man to be mythological, because that's what our brother Chris Harris always say. Solomon's mythology. That's myth, right? Biblical characters are myth. It sure is a lot of writing about a guy that don't exist.
Right. That's why our whole point, especially what Bruder said about myth, we use the term myth. Myth is not talking about pure fiction. See, they use it as pure fiction. They say, well, it's all false and fake. No, that's reality. It's grounded in reality. That's the point. But it says in Ethiopia, Oriental adopted the description of the aged Moors, pointing out Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Popular figure of
real quick, I'm going to cut you real quick. Somebody says Christ, Solomon, and Josiah is their favorite king. I would love to know why Solomon is one of your favorite kings. You can go ahead and post that in the chat. Salakia, Joshua, go ahead.
Look, according to the Cuban gospel, he can talk to animals, brother. He can talk to birds. Like, come on, man.
Right.
Come on, man. I'm gonna tell you, when I was a kid, I used to think Aquaman was one of the coolest superheroes because he could talk to fish, man.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest. On that note, before I finish, King Josiah will be my favorite king because of all the great acts he did, and also because he slayed the enemies. He slayed those the wicked Israelites that were worshiping and other gods and idols and defiling the temple. And guess what he did with their bones, man? He burnt their bones on the altars. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, he get 100 points in my book for being a savage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, let me finish this. It says popular figures of Arabic folklore as the builders of these ruins. So they attributed the building of these ruins to Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. And it's something I'm going to point out in the next slide. It's very interesting. It says the Dutch search for Solomon's gold. This is page number 33. It says Europeans' conviction that Zimbabwe ruins were erected by Solomon and that the ruins were of Semitic origin were adopted by the Dutch, who settled in the Cape in 1652 and dispatched several treks northward in search of King Solomon's mine. So these people are actually going on exhibitions trying to find this stuff. Same page, number 33 says the buildings attributed to the children of Israel. Now watch this. In the 1860s, Thomas Baines, a hunter and artist who traveled for years throughout Mashonaland, noted the heaps of stone were supposed to be monuments piled up by the children of Israel. Several ruins of ancient buildings are found still in this region, which is drained by a river and disemboguing on the east coast. The memory of the Queen of Sheba is still preserved among the Arabs of Sofala. But the point I want to point out is the monuments piled by the children of Israel. Now watch this, y'all. I'm going to go to another presentation I did. This is not the slide I want. Let me get the book. Let me see if I got the book. Told myself I was going to cue the book up. So when I got to that slide, it will be already up there. And it's not. It's not. So let me go through my PowerPoint and see if I can find it. I'm basically
Take your time, man. Take your time, man.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay, time. Bring it up.
All right. So in the book Ancestral DNA, Humans, Origins, and Migrations by Ranger Rahea and Ralph Garcia Bertrand, right? Pages number 438 and 439. It says the same thing we just read. It says the impact of foreign influence in the construction of Great Zimbabwe has received renowned interest with the claims that the Limba people, architectural candidates of the complex, have Judaic roots.
Right. Hold up. Is this in a connection to Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, brother?
I wouldn't say direct, but if they Israelites, they connected to Solomon.
Well, yeah, what I'm talking about with that myth. Because remember, I stated earlier that there are other stories of people in Africa connecting themselves to Israel based upon a migration,
right,
and not a conversion or a descendancy from Solomon.
Yeah. These people are not teaching that they converted. They saying they descended from Israelites, and it's funny that archaeologists are still looking at these people that have Judaic roots to be the builders of Great Zimbabwe and the monuments of Zimbabwe. That's exactly what we just. Let's go back.
Right.
Maybe our audience missed it. Let's go back to Edith Bruder's book. It says the heaps of stones were supposed to be monuments piled up by the children of Israel.
Facts.
And they're saying the people that potentially did it were the Limba. And the Limba are connected to who? Who they say they come from? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's in the first chapter, I believe. We covered that in the first chapter in this book. So there's some merit to that claim. You understand?
That's page 33.
Yeah. You don't see it? Don't do the Now do the DJ Shonsky on me, brother.
DJ Sean Ski.
Yeah, that's on page. Let's see. Let me get it right here. Right here. You see where it says in the 1860, the third paragraph down.
Yep, I see it.
Yeah, that whole quotation. Right, yeah. All right. Let's continue. Now we're going to page number 34, the Great Zimbabwe and the Jewish Connection. This apparent confirmation of the centuries-old tale aroused renewed interest in the region and revived the inspiration and imagination of those who were already familiar with the notion of an ancient Jewish presence there. Great Zimbabwe thus became the symbol of the wealth of Ophir, the biblical Havilah, erected in the time of Solomon by South Arabian Himyarites, followed in the time of Solomon by Jews and Phoenicians, and triggered a gold fever as well as abundant literature. Could this be the source of the limba in Africa? That's just a question. I'm not making these claims because limba say that they are Israelites. They have the traditions, the customs, and their DNA because they do have that J infusion. We're not saying haplogroup J is the Jews. We're saying E is, but however, that proves that they come from a region where J is from, and y'all already accept they from the Middle East. So that proves they migrated.
Yeah, man. When you're looking at the information that we're bringing out, family, right? Like we were going into the 1st century, 2nd century, 3rd, 4th century Hebrew Israelite practice and culture coming out of this the so-called church, right? Which was established, which established Christianity. What we're doing is there was a Gentile that put a lesson together, and we was reviewing the lesson last night, and he as a Gentile was coming to the same conclusions that we were coming to concerning the law. This was last night for those that was with us last night. Why am I bringing it up? Because this woman Edith Bruder is also utilizing many what you would call historical texts to validate her point, similar to what we teach as Hebrew Israelites, using some of the same sources, points, locations, migration patterns to come to these conclusions. How does she make a statement like this concerning what the children of Israel built where? In Africa.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So these things are important. See, Joshua, they don't believe us unless it's coming from the white man. You understand? So now you can't say, well, these convict Israelites are making stuff up. Oh, hell no. Okay.
I had another presentation. Yeah, that's good. It was another presentation I did. I can't remember it off back. Oh yeah, I remember what it was called now. It was when we was cutting up Garfield. Where is it at? Because I want to, substantiate that our DNA was in the Levant during the Israelite period. So you have to consider that component. And we're saying that DNA was actually the original Israelite DNA. And that would explain the limba, because the limba have EM2 markers, E1B1A markers like we do, right? And that DNA was found. I think this is it right here. Yeah, here it is. That DNA was found in the Levant. We know that because we admixed with those people that are already accepted as being there in the Bronze Age. Let me see. Haplogroup J, boom, boom. And Corsica, that's where EM2 was. My bad. I said Seneca or something like that. All right, right here. So this is from Marjani's paper in 2011. I believe that's on +1. You can find this article, The History of African Gene Flow in Southern Europeans, Levantines, and Jews. It says, we also detect 3 to 5% sub-Saharan African ancestry in all 8 diverse Jewish populations that we analyze. For this Jewish admixture, we obtain an average estimated date of about 72 generations. This may reflect the descent of these groups from a common ancestral population that already had some African ancestry prior to the Jewish diasporas. So this strengthens the fact that them limbas, and I'm saying the EM2 side, were actually Jews that had mixed with those that had J markers, and they brought those people after they amalgamated with them down into Africa. down into Zimbabwe, down into South Africa, becoming the Limba. That's my explanation of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can see that clear in the DNA. I'm going to read this as well. A parsimonious explanation for these, it's the same paper. A parsimonious explanation for these observations is that they reflect a history in which many of the Jewish groups descend from a common ancestral population, which was itself admixed with Africans prior to the beginning of the Jewish diaspora that occurred in the 8th to 6th century BC. This will be during the period, it would be Solomon's period, the Omri, all of that, when we start seeing all the material culture manifest. Africans were there.
Yeah, man. Let me say something right quick in the realms of study, man. You all see how this brother has compiled. He compiles his in PowerPoint presentation modes because the man is doing presentations. But you, as within your individual studies, you have to start compiling your information. So if you have a library in your home and you have certain books, so you should have, each book should have a tablet assigned to that book, that you went through the book and you pulled the information from that. This is going to help you improve within your study and be able to show improve at any point and within any discussion to be able to substantiate your point. So I would encourage you all to create a tablet. If you don't have the ability to create, document these things in a PowerPoint setting, you can grab an 89-cent tablet from 7-Eleven or any convenience store, okay? Right. And you should be having that tablet should be assigned to each one of your books. You should have one for each one of your books, so you can pull the information from there. So you don't have to go do like I do, and have to be scrolling through here looking, like, damn, where did I write that? This, that, and the third. You have to become more efficient at being able to bring out this information. I just wanted to highlight the example that you're giving, brother. Great job.
All praises, man. I'm just trying to be the best and most efficient as we can, so the information can be digested,
Right.
But being a powerful point, yeah, you got to do that. Especially when we're dealing with so much history at one time. It's good to be able to grab them references pretty quickly. But yeah, on the Limba being Jews, I think it's haplogroup E, because we do see Africans, and we know the element that they use in the research was the Yoruba. The Yoruba are Yoruba Nigerians to represent sub-Saharan Africans. So we know our DNA was there. We know for a fact. There's no questions around that. There's nothing to argue there. All right. So again, Great Zimbabwe has the Jewish connection, and they're saying that these monuments were created by Israelites. I pulled a DNA book on. They were talking about the archaeologists, also a tribe attributing the Limba, which have Judaic roots that say they come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to the building of Great Zimbabwe. So you get two sources saying the same thing, essentially. All right. Africa as a Jewish homeland. White Jews and some Christians have attached fundamental importance to the faith of these tribes since medieval times. Earlier episodes in the Bible and in Africa's mythology assume particular significance, even if sometimes diluted, for interpretations of Africa as a Jewish homeland.
Right.
Man, that's powerful, right? Because let me tell you why I say that. Because for some reason, and it's because of the Hamitic hypothesis and the negative tropes that have been attached to Black Americans and Black people in general, that we believe that the Bible ain't got nothing to do with Africa or Africans. And what I'm reading, what I'm extrapolating, what I'm getting from this book is that wasn't always so. That wasn't always reverberated in the earth. You know what I'm saying? For them to look at the interpretations of the Bible as Africa as a Jewish homeland, obviously, and also thinking that it was a paradise. We read last time they thought it was a damn paradise in Africa. And then we read today that they thought it was a damn Ophir down there. It was like a sea of gold down there waiting on them. You know what I'm saying? El Dorado, you know what I'm saying? If you watch that movie, they thought it was over there. So I that's why I thought, personally that this was a very powerful highlight. It says also, all these elements together form the mythological background for the expectations of Jewish traces in Africa's formative history. Let's keep going. African oral cultural milieu, right? The connection between 10 tribes in Ethiopia and the lineage established by the legend of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba made consistent the use of biblical imagery in the African oral cultural milieu. The convergence of these traditions from earliest times, often emerging in multifaceted and sometimes indirect combinations, contributed to the spread of an implicit connection of African inhabitants with the Hebrews. Maybe they didn't hear that. Contributed to the spread of implicit connections of African inhabitants with the Hebrews. It don't say nothing about conversion. It don't say nothing about a Jewish priest coming down there with two curls hanging outside his damn hat, teaching them the halakha. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know about the halakha, brother?
I don't see none of that there, man. But it also says these allegorical associations converge to form a subterranean architecture of prejudice, beliefs, and ideologies in a collective memory shared by Africans as well Europeans. And that's page 34. All right, let's go on. Oh, we're going to chapter 5 now. I couldn't wait to get to this one, brother. I couldn't wait to get to this one. All you brothers going around saying that the Jews ain't black. They never was black. They was always cracking crackers. I couldn't wait to get to this chapter, Jeremiah. You got something you want to say about this?
On page 34, it made mention of at the top. It says, furthermore, only the Phoenicians could have brought it here, right? Furthering Solomon's use of a lot of cedar wood for the building of the temple of his palace. What you have to understand is, remember I was saying earlier about the working relationship between Solomon and the Phoenicians, knowing that the Phoenicians was subservient unto Solomon based upon his rulership in the region. You see, and so this just further proves that working relationship. And it wasn't even about ships; it was actually about cedar wood that came from their region. So I just wanted to pull that out before we moved on from 34. But yeah, man, let's rock, man. I'm excited about chapter 5 as well, man. Let's get it, man.
Yeah. A lot of people gonna be upset behind this chapter. Chapter 5.
Blacks and Jews. Right. Brother, it don't say blacks and Jews nowhere, brother. The brother's plagiarizing. No blacks. Can you show me where it say blacks and Jews? No, I need to say black Jews. These Negroes is something else, man.
Pettifoggers, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But blacks and Jews, the archetypal type of others. This is a very, very pertinent chapter. All these brothers that claim they read this book, I don't know why you didn't get the memo. Like, what's going on? Let's keep reading. Now, let's deal with before we get into that, she does an excellent job at breaking down how modern races are constructed, how you think of phenotype, how you put barriers between people with different phenotypes and everything. That comes from Europeans. That comes from European thinking. That's where it comes from. So when you sit here and try to say you can't be related to somebody based on how they look, I'm going to tell you right now, that's coming from medieval Christian thinking.
Right.
That's where it's coming from.
White supremacy.
All right. So
you Negroes are propagating that upon the people. You understand? You're pushing white supremacy, Negro. Every time you say, well, brother, all the Israelites were black. You got to be out of your damn mind, Negro. We was in captivity in all parts of this earth. What is wrong with you brothers, man? Well,
Right.
after 2,000 years of captivity, they should still be the same color. These Negroes are something else, man.
Right. And mixing with other women's women. I said women's. I put an S on women's. Ain't that something? Well, women.
Yeah, women. Look, right now, you Negroes could not be dropped in South Mexico, right? You Negroes are dropped in South Mexico right now. 5 of you Negroes are dropped over there by yourself. You Negroes will be having one of them women for sure. For sure.
It'd be all type
But you
of
gonna try to act like it was like these brothers was just having extreme restraint in the midst of their captivity. These dudes are something else, man.
Yeah, man. I think the book of Ezra points it out that they was sleeping with Edomite women, Syrian women. I mean, come on, man. We did a lot of
And you
admixing.
see that with King Solomon in 1 Kings chapter 11.
Oh yeah. That man had like a multitude of
that man had all the worlds.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I don't know how you can read a narrative about us doing all this mixing and you think we all going to have a uniform or a homogeneous look. That's not how it works. Israel
because pheno change, that Y chromosome don't, and that's the point.
Right. So it don't matter how they look. If they got that same Y chromosome, then that's family. So let me read this, man, because you guys is like the brother said, y'all propagating this still to this day. And Edith Bruder even points it out, like a lot of this stuff is still being taught today. She said that in the book, right?
Oh wow, yeah.
It says the construction of Western identity. The creation of Western identity was constructed in a certain way in opposition or relation to these others. Susan Zontop has described how the Europeans, when absorbing the newly discovered lands in America, Africa, and the Pacific, both shaped and distorted to their liking the image of the other. What I found intriguing about this is you guys will tell us we ain't Jews, we Africans, but that whole idea of African and what makes it consist of African comes from Western identity, the construction of Western identities. They distorted and shaped that image and that name and that classification.
Right.
Not
I always give shout out to Rob Bourne, man. I always give him a hard time. Brother, what the hell does African mean, bro? Brother, you know what I'm talking about, brother. The original inhabitants, brother. But that ain't what African mean, brother. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that the brother don't know, but when you're using that classification, again, this is something that has been placed upon us, just like Puerto Rican, Negro, Black, African American, all of these terms, man. Again, these are bywords and proverbs that was placed upon us as a people, man.
Right. And I forget what the model. It's called the dominant model, I think it is.
Yeah.
Where a dominant nation would come in and you would take on all of their labels. They name you. You take their language, and that's pretty much what we are under in America and since colonial times. So we take everything from that classification and naming systems, and we were like, yeah, we this. Wait a minute, who told you that? And you know what's ironic about that, brother? They'll say, y'all only want to be Jews because you want to be like the white man. You following what the white man tell you to do. African in these classifications in the race system that you follow is all conceived by white men. All of it. And you don't question it one bit. But that's your argumentation against us when we want to claim Israelite or a Jewish lineage, right? So I find it very ironic and paradoxical that that's the angle brothers come with.
Yeah, man, because, I mean, people in Africa don't even call themselves African, okay? I had an NBA player that came from where Serge Ibaka came from, the Congo. They didn't say Serge Ibaka was from Africa. They didn't say he was African. They said he was from the Congo. Congolese or whatever, however you say it. You understand? Yeah, you go over into Africa and you get to classifying these people generalizations, they're going to be offended, man. Right? Because you're associating them with rival tribes. You understand? A lot of them have been modernized. You understand? And have been taught to accept these terms. But if you go back in antiquity, they didn't view themselves that way, and we're looking at it now.
Right. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is modern myth, man. So let's get to the next slide. That was page 37. We're going straight to 38. Colonize others. Edward said analyze the complex and subtle ways through which European subjectivity was confirmed and reinforced at the cost of the conquest, domination, and objectification of a world of colonized others.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Both Foucault and Said concluded that a discourse produced by various representational practices, academic studies, exhibitions, literature, and paintings constitute a form of racialized knowledge of the other. Let's keep going. It's going to get deeper. Same page, racial differences magnified. An anthropological approach argues that the marking of difference is the basis for this symbolic order that we call culture. So what they were doing is just judging everybody on how they look, how you do today, and saying, okay, well, these people are the Africans, these people are the Europeans, these people are the Indians, these people are. You can't do that, man, because as we already exemplified earlier, just looking at somebody not going to tell you who they are ancestrally and who they are connected to genetically. It's not going to do that. So it's a horrible method of trying to classify people. Until this day, you guys still do this shit. Excuse my language. You still do this.
Right. Have you learned nothing, Negro?
Yeah, man. You them same medieval Western Christians that came up with this stuff, man.
Right.
Well, let's keep reading. Mary Douglas, in referring to the work carried out by the sociologist Emily Durkheim on symbolic systems and to the subsequent studies carried out on myths by the anthropologist, Clyde Levi-Strauss tells us that social groups impose meaning on the world by classifying and organizing things within a binary classification system. That's black and white.
Right.
Well, black people can't be white people, and white people can't be black people. So if we say the Jews is white, then there's no damn way that blacks can be Jews.
Facts. And
this is when that system came up.
Yeah,
man. Go ahead.
Yeah, talk that talk, man. Yeah, I was just about to say that.
You got it, brother. You got it.
Yeah, man. So I mean, listen, at the core and the root of all this, man, ultimately Europeans have been mesmerized by the book itself. When I say book, I mean in the Bible. So what they're doing is somebody was hated in the Bible. And it talks in the book of Obadiah, it says, how will Esau hide himself? You understand? Then you go all the way to the end of the book, to the book of Revelation. It says, those that say they are Jews are not Jews, but are the synagogue of Satan. Right? So we're looking at a people, why would they do this? You understand? So now they, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong about this, right? You have the Europeans who now change the Jews to white. Guess what else they have to do? They have to change the Egyptians white. Because there was major relations between Israel and Egypt. There was major relations between Jacob and Egypt. There was major relations between Abraham and Egypt. So in order for that to make sense, you had to change also the color and the appearance of the ancient Egyptians. I yield.
Facts, right? They did. I'm glad you brought up Egypt because they did Egypt the same way. Well, these people, if they brought in civilization, that's the Hamitic hypothesis. They had to be white. They had to be white. You know what I'm saying? And you hear people like Emac and these Latin tards, what I'm going to call them, reverberate that same colorist, racist garbage.
Right.
And it's coming, which is kind of paradoxical in that regard, because even if you go with the Hamitic hypothesis, you're saying that white and black people can be related, because they essentially saying, well, the other ones were white, the other children of Ham were white, and the ones that were Canaan were the ones of the Canaan had the curse of being black. So even then, you're saying that white, it don't matter what phenotypes. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You can be all related and have several phenotypes, like you brought up Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? No matter how many times his kids have kids and their kids have kids, 400 years from now, if the males keep a complete succession, they're gonna have the same damn Y chromosome as Blake Griffin. That's not gonna change. You know what I'm saying? And that's the danger of teaching this modern race theory. But let me read on. It says, paradoxically, however, this places more importance on difference and renders it surprisingly attractive. So that's why they say, oh, well, people are exotic. You know what I'm saying? Or the people,
Right.
Women want a Hawaiian man, a Negro would want a woman from the Philippines, and so on and so forth, right? Someone outside or someone different.
And let me say this too, man. Shout out to my first album, Social Issues Part 1, or Social Issues Within Itself. I have a song on there called Exotic. And that'll let you know that it ain't talking about no white woman. Exotic is not white at all. I want to make that clear. That means that statement and that term was utilized to distinguish something different from white. I want to make that clear. You understand? So shout out to Social Issues, man. You can pick that up at HORS Jacob on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram at Jeremiah. Please say the Yah and support your brother, man. Go ahead, Op.
Yeah. We ain't even got to the meat and potatoes yet of this chapter.
Right.
Shout out to you. Yeah, support him. Get his music. You know what I'm saying? You will not be disappointed. The brother is very talented and has a ear for music. So check that brother out. Check the CEO out, Jeremiah. And I guess we're gonna have to close out with that now, brother. You can put the pressure on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
All right. So this says the goal of Christianity. Now watch this. This is gonna kill people like Matt Salah. They're not gonna like this. This is gonna make his stomach turn. Or it should. Let me put it like that. This should make your stomach turn. It says
hold on. Let me get that. What page is that?
Page 38. Page 38.
Page 38. Okay, Con. I see it. Let's go.
The European attempt to articulate these new others became a key part of colonial discourse. Prejudice, beliefs, and ideologies converge to describe the primitive within the scope of Western experience, establishing vital connections between Christianity and Western culture as a whole. On behalf of the Dutch East India Company, which had just established trading posts in southern Africa in 1652, Jan van Riebeck proclaimed a colonial mission in which the name of Christ may be extended, the interests of the company promoted. Similarly, the Virginia Company, created in 1607 for colonization of North America, declared, our primary end is to plant religion. Our secondary and subalternate ends are for the honor and profit of our nation. So you have these European vessels, if you will, European organizations like Dutch East India Company, having a vested interest in forcing Catholicism and colonial Christianity on people, man. That's what they were doing. We're gonna read the results of them doing it and what the implications of it, because that's not real Christianity. Because we're in the Bible, we're in the New Testament, all right, does it say go in and strip people of their damn culture and tell them that they Christian and force Christianity on them? Where is it at?
Right. With the sword.
I'm
trying to figure out which disciple went into a city, because remember, it tells you in the Bible, family, if a city rejects you, you're supposed to dust your feet off and move on. You're not supposed to go in and say, you're going to die then, pull up a sword and start killing people because they don't want to accept Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior.
Hey, them Jehovah's Witnesses, woo, them Jehovah's Witnesses was bad, man. They knocked on your door. You better come with it.
Right.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Like that's a conflict of the narrative, because the narrative says exactly what you just said. Dust your feet off and keep moving. You don't force it down their throat, and if they don't, you disembowel them, take their land. Like that's madness. Let's keep going. Contradictory meanings of the modern race system. So Anthony Christopher noted rightly that missionaries, possibly more than members of other branches of the colonial establishment, aimed at the radical transformation of indigenous society. They therefore sought, whether consciously or unconsciously, the destruction of pre-colonial societies and their replacement by new Christian societies in the image of Europe. So it was going around radically transforming these people and destroying and stripping these people of their cultures, man.
Right.
And then planting them a corrupted version of Christianity, right? Because we're gonna that Hamitic hypothesis comes from this corrupted version of Christianity.
Yeah. Hold up, Josh. They yo, man, shout out to the founder, man, in the building, man. General Shar, man. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, shalom, family, shalom.
Yeah, man. Look, Joshua. Then these Afrocentric Negroes want to blame us for this. You understand? Yeah, y'all was pushing Christianity upon everybody. Negro, we didn't have no power, no authority to do none of this stuff that these damn heathen did, man.
Right. When you read about the African Jews, they were just trying to be separate. They were just trying to separate themselves from everybody. Look, y'all do what y'all do. We over here doing what we do. We gonna chill, man. Just don't cross that line. You know what I'm saying?
And you see that in the first century church with the followers of the disciples as they started to separate themselves from the temple, man. See what I'm saying?
Right, man. So they gotta. It's a misrepresentation, and that's why I disagree. Remember, we was watching that debate with Rabbi Rosenberg and what's that, Wesley Muhammad?
Yeah.
The brother was right. We didn't force. He brought up the Hasmonean dynasty. Okay, them Edomites, they Hebrews anyway. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, who else we do that like? The Canaanites. Okay, they wanted to be a citizen of our country. Yeah, you had to get down with our laws and regulations and our spiritual system.
Right.
But we talking about just going out throughout the world, you know what I'm saying, forcing these people to follow this corrupted Christianity.
Yeah, man. I was on that show with the Mother Brothers, and they were trying to accuse you of plagiarism.
So we huh?
Huh?
I said they got us as Debo out in these streets, huh?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I had to tell them brothers, like, man, we don't have no history of having missionaries and going out to force people to convert to our faith. That's not what we did. Oh, what about when they took people as slaves? Them is our slaves, Negro. What the hell is wrong with you, man? Damn.
Right.
So you mean to tell me, because y'all forced the slaves. These people are supposed to be operating and be amongst our families in our home, man. Of course, they're going to have to live by these rules and regulations and operating within the city gates of our towns.
Right.
Of course. But you don't see missionaries being sent from Israel to damn Philistines. Show me that in the scripture.
Right.
King David pulled Goliath to the side and say, hey, man, Jesus is the way, my brother. Get the hell out of here, man. What is going on, man?
We wasn't going around passing around upper room pamphlets, man.
Right.
And trust me, brothers, we wasn't going door to door down the block. All right.
Right.
We wasn't knocking on people's doors talking about, Jehovah. Okay. It didn't work. It didn't happen. You don't find it nowhere in our history.
Right. Man, if you want to become a citizen, then you want to be a citizen, you're going to have to get down with the program, man.
Right. Because you're operating and you're communing around us and, in our temples and our ways of doing things, of course.
Right.
You have to know what you need, what you can and what you can't do. You can't come in here after having sexual relations and just come up in the temple start shaking hands. You can't do that.
Right.
Oh man. So what we're pointing out is what they call Christianity today, and in the medieval times, that Christianity was a corrupted Christianity and didn't represent the original. I mean, it's clear.
Bro,
Right?
I'm gonna keep it real, bro. I don't even think we took like still water baths, bro. Like I don't believe we jumped in tubs like that. I think we just, you know what I'm saying, we washed ourselves in a different type of way, man. Because just sitting in that
man,
field,
according to the commandments, we started, getting up in times and things started becoming more and more modern. We always dealt with flowing water, man. You know what I mean?
right?
So when you go and you think about the temple where they was taking baths, remember when Christ healed the man at the bathing pool?
Okay.
That pool was flowing. It was, the water was flowing, so it was coming in on one end and going out the other. It was a constant stream. Right. So yeah.
So nobody was sitting in filth as they bathed themselves.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
No, you good, man. That's good information, man. Well, what you're pointing out is, you know what I'm saying, like what the version that we got of Christianity ain't what our ancestors were teaching and propagating, man. It says right here, reading on, it says, in order to avoid a far too linear history of ideas, I wish to make it clear that as the missionary strategies emanated from a very diverse Europe, they constituted contradictory and divergent myths that were only slowly aggregated to give form to the unknown other. Keep reading. Now watch this. This is how Christians destroyed culture. It says, however, and when it says unknown other, you're talking about everything outside of white people. That's what they're talking about, right? They formulated racist theories, conceptions, classifications to classify everybody outside of their own, right? What it says right here, however, many 18th century explorers, 19th century missionaries, and 20th century colonists used the same signs and symbols in their speech and acted in accordance with them. They generated an ethnological knowledge through their regular contact with local customs by adopting missionaries' theory of history, which assumed that language and culture of the savages would disappear with the implantation of Christian civilization. So they was going around teaching Christianity, to corrupt Christianity, and forcing it on these people and making their own cultures and their own languages disappear, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is what these people did.
This is why they say, languages are extinct, or what do they say? They're dead languages. Like, how can a language be dead unless the people are dead? You understand what I'm saying? And from what I understand, it's still a lot of ancient nations still walking around, still speaking their language.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, just because we don't have or not privy to it or don't have access to be able to hear it on a regular basis, don't mean that it ain't active.
Right. Yeah, man. They did a lot with this Christianity stuff to rid a lot of people, not just Israelites, of their culture, man. And that's page number 39. Same page right here. African is a European concept. I know it's gonna hurt a lot of you guys.
Wow.
This is gonna hurt your this is gonna get you guys to be very emotional, especially you guys that sit up here and say, "Oh, well, if you claim to be a Jew, you fall in the white man." Man, if you claim to be an African, you fall in the white man.
Absolutely, because it started up north.
Come on, man. Come on.
And when I say up north, I'm talking about northern Africa. They had a little spot in northern Africa over there by the west coast of Africa, and yeah, that's where that little bitty word that took over the whole continent came from.
You know what they're gonna say? They always run to the Salakia. Go ahead, brother. My bad.
No, I was just about to say it didn't come from Ophir, like, you know what I'm saying, we would thought because Ofer name never changed. It never changed to no damn Africa. Excuse my language, but it didn't. His name is always Ofer.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they're gonna try to run to the Afro people, Afro. You know what I'm saying?
But even that, we're talking about the modern classification, African to embody and encompass all black people, bro, in that continent. Everybody's an African, right? That idea and that concept came from Europeans,
That's
man.
a good point. That's a good point.
I'm not even talking about the root word that it may have came from, the free people. I'm not even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find this term
Bro,
real
I'm
quick.
trying to tell you, bro. Go ahead.
I find
But
this
at the
term.
same time, is you know, we talking, so it ain't about me telling nothing. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do it. We source up. Period.
What you said was solid. I'm not going against. I'm just saying the way we use it today, that come from the damn Europeans, man. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, man, that's the whole reason that we even got the word in the way that it's pronounced any dang way.
All right, here go the term right here. For all you guys saying we fall on the white man if we claim to be Jews or Israelites, right? Look, this is called the Aristotelian logic dictum, right? It says is the principle that whatever is affirmed or denied of a whole kind may be affirmed or denied of any subkind. So, in other words, if you're saying that we're following the white man for calling ourselves Israelites, then you have to apply that to everything. You have to apply that to everything. And we know the way you use African and the terminology and classification come from white people, man. So if you indicting us and you demonizing us for that same reason, then you got to demonize yourself then. We're going to read it. Here it go right here. We're going to read it right here. African and European Concept, same book, Black Jews of Africa by Edith Bruder, page number 39. In Orientalism, Edward Said alluded to the battery of desires, repressions, investments, and projections that conspired with economic interests to the production of colonial mentalities. Valentine Mudimbe, in order to define development of discourse that came to be applied to Africa, used Frobenius terms African Genesis. To formulate his hypothesis about the epistemological locus of the African's invention and its meaning for discourse on Africa. This should not imply that the Western inventors of an African Genesis did not distinguish the different levels and types of interpretations of Africa. The internalizing of these myriads others through multiculturalism and increased mobility can be seen as heralding European modernity. So what this is saying is, what was bringing up in the African Genesis is how we look at Africans today, the term, the classification, and distinguishing the different levels of Africans, right? This is all coming from these Europeans, bro. There's no way around it. They're the ones that formulated this. They're the ones that invented this, right? Because it says the locus of the Africans' inventions and its meaning for discourse on Africans. This is where it comes from, Western Europeans. So y'all can keep y'all arguments, man. Next slide, same page. Medieval Christendom had known only two main kinds of others, Jews and Moors, who personified two aspects of a little developed, even bestial and denigrated humanity. The Greek term Maori was used at the time as both a poetical equivalent of Ethiops and a broad term that included Black Africans. So the Jews and Moors were coupled together here. And the Moors are already being associated with Black Africans. I want y'all to keep that on your mind. As Parfit wrote, the archetypal others of Europe and racial others, the Moors and Jews, whose relationship with Christian Europe had been forged from long centuries of religious and military conflict, were pressed into service. The immediate boundary between Christian and Jews or Moors was endlessly duplicated as Europe confronted the hitherto unknown parts of the world. Now watch this. So they considered the Jews and Moors as others, meaning they were not considered as white Europeans. Keep that in mind.
Right.
Same page number 39. Religion was the backbone of racialism. Watch this. The two main vectors of the classification of the unknown other were religion and racialism, which were often inextricably intertwined. From Genesis to phylogenesis, the issue remains the same even though it reflects the various social and scientific forms taken in the West over the centuries, and can be summarized as follows. It is the nature of the other and the study of his similarities and dissimilarities that enable me to determine the proximity of his race to mine. So again, you see that, Jeremiah? Again, it's about how these people look. They use looks to determine who you're related to or what race you're in. Right?
Facts. Facts.
Oh, well, you look similar to these people, then you all are the same. You can't apply that. Even in Africa, you
Well,
are.
I'm just saying, man, I don't look like no African. So what are we talking about then? If that's what it is.
Right.
Well, who am I? What am I? Where I come from?
That's the confusing part about it, right? That's the confusing part about it. We don't even look like the typical African. Let me put it like that, right? Big nose, big cheekbones, and so on and so forth. Not all Africans look the same, man. They got different phenotypes, so it's just a big bowl of confusion. That's all it is. Hold on, brothers. I got to get this. I don't know why my screen did that. Let me go back to the reading view.
You was in the extra big worlds, brother.
Yeah, it just did that by itself. Let me get back to the slide I was at. But the point is, even if you go to Africa, all Africans don't even look the same, so that don't even make sense. So that, like Edith Bruder said, this racial system that they came up with was very contradictory, man. It contradicted itself, but you guys still use this race system to this day. Still use it. Let me see. We read that. I think we was here. Yeah. So the last thing I read was it as the nature of the other and the study of his similarities and dissimilarities that enable me to determine the proximity of his race to mine. Proximity means the closest of his race. So that's how they determine it, by studying the similarities and dissimilarities. Okay, these people are all black. They got woolly hair. They all the same. That's not true, man. Because the Khoisan got woolly hair and they black, but we don't descend from the same fathers as them. They haplogroup A, we haplogroup E. You know what I'm saying? You got black, woolly-haired Philippines. You know what I'm saying? They got. I would say that they were the children of Japheth, not Shem. So it goes on and on and on. The Australians, so on and so forth. So that's the era of judging people based on how they look alone, man. All right. So the inception of racial theories. This is page number 40 now. It says the transformation that took place between the 16th and 18th centuries as nation states asserted themselves in Europe not only led to the conquering colonial enterprise, but also constituted the transition from biblical to racial theories. In other words, from the nearly intact heritage of medieval Christianity to the notions that gave birth to race theories. So all of these race theories is coming from medieval Christianity, man. You know what I'm saying? Ham being the father of all the blacks, so all the blacks are the same. They all related. That came from medieval Christianity. And now it crept into your race theory on how we classify race. Oh, all Africans are the same. And that's why I say I debate anybody on that topic, by the way. And I'm going to show you all Africans not the same. And that term is confusing. Well, reading on. One of the most crucial questions of the time was the unity of mankind or monogenism, as opposed to the separate creation of races, which is polygenism. Let's keep going. Same page, page 40. Here's the two prevailing theories on African phenotypes. At the end of the 18th century, two views coexisted about Africans. The first one was that they were the result of degeneration due to different environmental conditions. The second, the more widespread, was that they were a separate creation with subhuman conditions. So these were the two ideas about Africa that was circulating in the 18th century. One is still being taught. They just don't use the word degeneration, right? Because they have
Exactly.
what they call the climate theory. Well, you're only black when you're close to the equator, and you're only white
Right.
when
I
you're in
can't
Europe.
stand that theory, bro. I can't
That
stand it because I come across it so much. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the dumbest theory on one of the dumbest theories on the planet, bro.
right.
Especially
And
when
we
you
know
got white people in South Africa and you got black people in Alaska. Okay.
Right. That ain't never left. You know what I'm saying? Since they got there, you know, we talking about over hundreds of years. You got us up in Alaska and them in South America, South Africa, and even South America. I mean, Spain. Let's just keep it all the way funky, because even up in Europe, they had some real nice tropical weather up there in certain places, and they was there. So what we talking about?
Watch this.
Anything to go against the truth.
Right. Watch this. This is in Russia. These are what they call Abkhazian Negroes. You see these people, man?
Man, they look just like our ancestors, bro.
Come on.
They look just like our family right here, right now, bro.
And
that's where they got the hold up. Go back down. That's where they got the hat from, bro.
Yeah, right.
Go back up. Sorry. Go back up. That's where they got the hat from. Our freaking afros, bro.
Wow.
What?
Hey, Joshua, real quick, look up that Russian hat that look like that. I don't know what the hell it's called.
Me neither. I don't know the word all back that either, man.
Russian hats.
That's wild, man.
I know what he's talking about, though. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think the military be wearing them or something.
That's where they get them. Look, bro, man.
I know what you're talking about.
That's something similar to it.
I just don't know what the name of it is. I don't know what they call it.
Right.
Yeah, but you got black people that have been living there for thousands of years, man. They ain't turned white yet. Yeah, I can't find it. Sorry.
Man, that's me. It's some Russian guards that everybody come up to, and they don't show no emotion. People be trying to get them to laugh and smile.
You talking about them cats up in England? Them England guards, them French guards, or something.
No. These are. Is that England? I think that's the Russians, man. When you go there, and they try to get. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
You talking about the guards that be protecting like the embassies and stuff like that? And they
yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yep. But my point is this, bro. They don't. Man, they get everything from us, dude. Straight up.
Hey, man, the Bible says Jacob is the form of all things.
The great influencer, huh?
Right.
All right, so yeah, man, great point, man. Yeah, man, that was look, y'all can't be using that climatic theory, bro. We got Twitter, man. We got people living in Russia for thousands of years. They ain't turned white yet. All right, let's see more. Same page, the pseudo belief of race. I got an echo for some reason.
This bitch ass nigga driving slow as fuck.
Hold on, we live, brother. We live.
Oh, bad, man.
Hold on. I had to jump off the PowerPoint. Stop.
Yo.
Back to the book, man. Page 40.
Right.
The pseudo belief of race based on phenotypes. The representation of difference through the body became discursive site through which is most of this racialized knowledge was produced and circulated. So again, it's about how you physically look, and that's how racial knowledge was produced, created, and circulated. It had nothing to do with genealogy, had nothing to do with pedigree and where you come from and who you related to. It's like, okay, this is how you look. Okay, I'm gonna group you with everybody else that we think you look like. That's all it was. When you look up Blumenbach,
it was an inferiority. It was an inferiority thing that they they're not even worth us finding out who they are. They're gonna be whatever we say they are.
Facts. It says, in fact, each of the major theoretical options specific to these periods has remained alive. Each new option added the former instead of replacing them.
Wow. Hold on, man. You gotta read that again, bro.
In fact, each of the major theoretical options specific to these periods has remained alive.
Meaning people are still using them today.
Facts. Facts. These theories are still being in use. All right, so let's continue. I got an echo. Somebody calls me the echo. Here, Maya.
I got you.
All right, we're clear. Page number 40. The flaws of the modern racism. Same page. She was going in this whole page. I'm just highlighting everything at this point. You know what I'm saying? David Green discussed these views in relation to anthropology and ethnology, the disciplines that offered the most scientific data in that respect at the time. As the position and status of the inferior races became increasingly to be regarded as fixed, so socio-cultural differences came to be regarded as dependent upon hereditary characteristics. Since these, when inaccessible to direct observation, these were inaccessible to the direct observation, they had to be inferred from physical and behavioral traits. In turn, they were intended to explain social cultural differences among human populations and became subsumed within the identity of the individual body. So this is where this is all coming from. You understand? You judging people based on how they look comes from this. That's why she said it's still alive. It's all based on physical and behavioral traits. Right? It says, in an attempt to trace the line of determination between the biological and social, the body became the totemic object. And totemic means like emblem or sign, right? A totemic object in its very visibility, the evident articulation of nature and culture. So again, and this is why I was killing Rob Bourne on this too. You cannot base someone's race off culture as well and their traits. That's what you guys are doing. This same flawed thinking you're using and employing it. Well, if the Jews was there, why we don't see all these people being Jews? No, every one of them should be Jews. No, bro, that's not how it works. It don't work like that, man.
Exactly.
Culture is not your race and who you are. Your practices is not who you are. Who you are is the DNA inside of you that was passed down from your father and from his father and from his father. Because if that's the case, majority of African Americans is European, man. Majority of y'all celebrate Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, July 4th. You do everything the Europeans do. So therefore, you have a European culture. Therefore, you are of the European race. You see how that? See, that's why this don't make no damn sense, man. And that's why I like the Aristotelian because if you apply it to one thing, you must apply it to all.
Yeah, man. Cultural studies are important. We're not saying that cultural studies are not important.
You're echoing.
But
hold on, bro. I'm trying to mute out.
I got you, bro.
You're sharp. When you're ready to talk, just let us know because you got a bad echo, brother.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, cultural studies is not a bad practice. What we're saying is trying to define a person simply because of their practices and not adding other parts to the research. You have to add other parts to the research, such as migration patterns, right? Utilizing certain elements of chronography, right? DNA, right? You Negroes love DNA, right? But it wasn't until we started diving off into the DNA, now it's a problem. Oh, you brothers don't know what y'all talking about. And shout out to Anonymous Hebrew, man. I'm still celebrating that ass whooping he put on the ops. You feel me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So why? Because our brothers now are starting to become familiar with these things. You know, because 5 or 6 years ago, you could say Israelites would say we don't care about none of that. We don't talk about that. We don't research that at all. Now you can't use you used to try to claim that we weren't intelligent, that we only stayed in the Bible. Here we are right now in a historical book from a PhD. But yet we only stick in the Bible, Joshua.
You know what's funny about that? Now that we're not sticking in the Bible, and you get more Hebrews that's using extra biblical works and things outside of it. Now they're saying, why are y'all doing all that? Why can't you just stay in the Bible? I'm like, brother,
Right.
which one is it? Which one is it, goddammit?
Right.
You brothers is all over the place, man. It's like with this book. Y'all should read this book. This book, if you read this book, y'all ain't gonna be Israelites no more after you finish her book. We start reading it.
Yeah, man, I can't think of that place where I can't think of what show we were on. But they literally said that. Oh, you can't say that because you're going outside the Bible. It was me and you, Joshua. I can't think of what platform we was on.
That probably was SPDL. That probably was something over there, the SPDL.
You brothers can't do that. You brothers have to stay in the Bible. Oh, now we have to stay in the Bible. So you can try to use manipulation tactics, okay? Use manipulating tactics and misinterpolate scriptures. So you want us to stay right there so you can be involved in the conversation. You Negroes is something else. Right. You done studied for 5 years on the same old Israelite narrative. You didn't master that, but guess what? The Israelites haven't evolved. We've grew from there. We know you go, but they're gonna try to say this, they're gonna try to say that. So just as you're studying, we're studying, and we're growing over here, man.
Right. You know, and it's so funny to me that certain people like Broad Bourne was talking about this. Oh, this book, she killed y'all in this book. And then when I read it, and she didn't say that, and I show him verbatim where she said it. Oh, well, she wrong then. No, nigga. When you thought she was siding with you, she was right. As soon as we show you she's not siding with you, and she cutting the hell out of you, now she wrong. You brothers is biased as hell, man. Bias.
You Negroes are something else.
Oh man. All right.
Truthfully honest said facts. Truthfully honest.
And we ain't even got to the best part of this chapter.
Right.
She's breaking down the racial system and everything for a reason. All right, let's keep going. The lost tribes connected to Africans. This is the same page. The assumed inferiority of Black Africans, to which the myth of the lost tribes and its byproduct in part contributed, was essentially characteristics of colonial discourse. Throughout the long period of colonial empires, from the first conquest to the beginning of the 20th century. As the history of Western perceptions of Africa has many contributors, so it would seem that African Jews are also the inheritors of a long accumulating history. Let's keep going. Racial features common to Africans and Jews. This is going to be very pertinent. It's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings out there, because every time we read something about Black Jews, y'all got problems about it. Oh, well, this is not talking about their skin black. They're talking about their heart black. And oh, this is esoteric, brother. When they say black, it's talking about they was in another realm. Like, you brothers are pseudo as hell.
Right.
You niggas
Yeah, it's talking about emotion, brother. It's talking about he was in a bad place mentally, brother. Man, if you'll get your goofy ass.
Big goofy ass.
Right. Oh man. Hey, that's a new shirt coming from the source, man.
Yeah, man. I gotta be the first one with that. That joint fire. All right. So racial features common to
Yo, Joshua. No, real talk. Anti-goofy, man. It's coming soon.
yeah, man. No goofy zone.
Right.
Real talk. So racial features common to Africans and Jews. This is page number 41 now. The propensity to identify racial features common to Africans and Jews extended back to ancient times. Let me read that again. Propensity.
Read that again, Ak.
The propensity to identify racial features common to Africans and Jews. Africans and Jews. African and Jews. You got to keep reading it. I got to reverberate this because you niggas got a problem with this for some reason. No, the Jews can't be black. Right. No, you guys. And then now Kyle, oh, well, if they black, then they the skinny nose blacks. Shut your dumb ass. Get your goofy ass.
Oh my God. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They only got 79% of melanin, brother.
No, I hate this one. They black, but they ain't black. What the hell does that mean?
Right. They black, but they ain't black. You know what I'm talking about, brother. No, I don't. Okay? I don't have a clue what the hell you talking about, brother. You know how to hit you with that, Joshua. Yeah, come on, you know what I'm saying. They black, but they ain't really black. You know what I'm saying. No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell you speaking in some unknown tongue right now. I'm gonna have to take you to Corinthians. If a man speak the unknown tongue, you speak to God, not to me. You speaking to God right now, brother. All right, let me read it, man. You guys is ridiculous, man. Woo. The propensity to identify racial features common to Africans and Jews extended back to ancient times through continuities and discontinuities. Through an amalgam of projections, similar traits were attributed to the two groups, including skin color.
Hold up. That word attributed is very deceptive. I'm gonna tell you why. That means that they just pick niggas. Understand that. Oh, these over here, we're gonna call them this. And let me see. The way you look, I mean, you know, they could classify two different black people as two different things, and they come from the same mother and father.
Right.
You understand? So that statement attributed is very deceptive.
Right. But the court, what we want to draw from this is that the Jews and Africans had similar traits, including skin color, because that's what they weren't black. They wasn't black. It says including skin color in Edith Bruder's book. Did you niggas read it?
Right.
Secondly, do you niggas own it? Do you own it? You didn't read it, and if you own it, you didn't read it. And I doubt a lot of y'all own it, man. Y'all always making commentary about stuff y'all don't own and y'all don't read, man.
I gotta get a double highlight on that.
Yeah. Similar traits, including skin color. This is what Edith Bruder's book says.
Right.
And they back there saying, well, you know, I wouldn't trust her work. Nigga, you niggas wasn't saying this stuff until we started reading and highlighting.
We started reading.
So again, man, she's saying back even in the ancient times, people were drawing similarities between Africans and Jews, and one of those similar traits was skin color. So it says including skin color and correlated characteristics. Serendipitous links between blackness and Jewishness was formed during the Middle Ages in Western society. That's page number 41.
Yeah, man.
Skin tone and Jewishness.
I feel that it's necessary to do this real quick, man. For those that are watching, right? Show y'all something real quick. Here. Hold on, let me
Hit that
turn
like
my
button. Hit that like button and subscribe to the Source Debate League on YouTube, and follow us on our Facebook group, the Source Debate League on Facebook. Drop a comment if you want to be a judge or a debater. You know what I'm saying? You can do that and hit us up and let us know verbally
and
and leave that comment.
I feel that it's important that I do this, right? You see, like we actually have the book, and we're
Oh, you
actually
got it on stream?
reading the book.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
actually have the
you
damn
see
book,
me?
man.
We're actually reading. We're actually reading the book. Okay, family. So, for those,
You froze, or did I freeze? Am I froze? What's going
now
on, man?
I think it's my screen. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah.
I
I
can
think
hear
it's my screen. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can get it back real quick. Let me get it back in the world. But anyway, I made my point, man. I made my point.
Mhm.
I just wanted to show, like, look, we doing this for real. We're going through this thing. I'm highlighting. We're being able. I'll be able to teach this again, and that's the point. You want to be able to bring this information to our people again. You know what I'm saying? Hebrews in the hood say, we got him rolling, man. All praise and glory.
Yeah. We don't want no. That's good. We don't want no stale content. We want people to be engaged and feel like they're at home, got their popcorn, a few laughs. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny because these guys have been making these statements for years, and they've been biting it. They've been biting their tongue, man. They've been eating their own words. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you can go back in, man. I'm gonna jump out and jump right back in, man.
All right.
You can pull it. You can pick back up where you left off.
All right, so I got to get my stream back up here. There we go. We're gonna get back into the PowerPoint, and I think I passed it. This is where we were. So we showed and proved that there was a commonality on how the Africans and Jews looked. That was the view. They were identified to have racial features common to Africans and Jews, including skin color. So all you people trying to throw out these esoteric meanings of black, you're done for, man. You're done for. All right, so now we're dealing with skin tone and Jewishness. Page number 41 says a study of perceptions, symbolic associations, and the ramifications will explore how dark-skinned people were perceived from ancient times, how negative associations attached to the color black were played out on the stage of history, and how connections between skin tone and Jewishness became embedded in Western culture. And I also want to bring this up from a historical standpoint. You do have the Beatty Papyrus, or the papyri. I believe a Jewess named Shane. She brings out these papyrus in one of her books. And Egyptian papyrus on descriptions on how Jews looked during that time, during the Ptolemaic period. And every description is they're either honey colored or dark. That's it. You
I
understand?
need that source. I need that source. And let me say this real quick. Hebrews in the hood, man. You need to go get your book and highlight with us, man. Get your highlight game up. Right now is a great opportunity for you to get some critical highlights in that book if you haven't read it yet, bro. Real talk. You understand? This is gonna be a major weapon in your next dialogue. I guarantee you. Right?
Yeah,
Salakia,
man.
Jackson, go ahead.
Yeah, the source is The Beginnings of Jewishness by Shay Cohen. And in the book, I'm looking at it right now on my phone, it says a papyri of the Ptolemaic period regularly contain descriptions of physical appearance of parties or witnesses to contracts. A few such are the Jews are extant. So it has a Poionios, which is called, he's tall, honey-colored with rather bright eyes and protruding ears. Honey-colored, then Pythocles, which is a Jew, tall, dark-colored skin with deeply set eyes, a mole on the neck and on the left side. And the rest are either honey-colored or dark. And that's what we see here. So we do have depictions of them having skin color akin to Africans, or what we call Africans today. That's a primary source during that time of the Ptolemaic period. They had these receipts and these contracts, and when they signed these contracts, they wrote down how these people look. All right. So back into this. A study of perceptions, symbolic associations, and the ramifications will explore how dark-skinned people were perceived from ancient times, how negative associations attached to the color black were played out in the stage of history, and how connections between skin tone and Jewishness became embedded in Western culture. In this process, history and exegesis are intimately related with psychological projection, and the exegetical mirror provides a lens to focus on cultural needs. So we're going to transition to this part. The blacks as sinners. Frantz Fanon summarized the attitude of the West toward blackness. In Europe, the black man is the symbol of evil. The torturer is the black man. Satan is black. One talks of shadows. When one is dirty, one is black. Whether one is thinking of physical dirtiness or moral dirtiness. So this was the thinking of these medieval Christians, was they were teaching us corrupt Christianity, and this was the thinking that came with it. It says no implicit color bias in the biblical narrative. I wanted to add this in here, and I believe she put this in her book to let you know that the Bible itself is not pushing any of these negative tropes or narratives, right? Page number 41 says, interestingly, in biblical scriptures, most references to Africa, i.e. Cusham, are descriptive and not judgmental. The area south of Egypt, descending into Central Africa and extending east to the Red Sea, was known to the ancient Near Eastern cultures as Cush in the Hebrew Bible, while in Greek writings, the name for this land was Ethiopia. We also find the word Nubians in earliest sources, such as Isaiah, the 20th chapter, 4th verse to the 6th verse, and in times it came to indicate the originally African ethnic element of the Ethiopian population. The inhabitants of Cush are frequently placed in positive context as brave fighters, or they are merchants, and Cush is described as the land of precious stones. So what she's illustrating here to the reader is that in the Bible, these tropes and these racial overtones about blacks being negative, it's not in the Bible. This is something that these Western Christian theologians came up with during medieval times and pushed on our people, man.
Hey, did you read the part? You might have covered it already. In Europe, the black man is the symbol of evil.
Yeah, I read that on the last slide. Yeah.
Con. Yeah, man. My bad, man. It just upset me, man. You know what I'm saying? Damn. Right.
So different meanings of the word Cush. I'll probably get one example in the Bible. It applied to a Jew. But watch this. The different meanings of the word Cush. This is pages 41 and 42. In the Bible, the many references to Cushim may be divided into two literal and two metaphorical types. Ethnic origins, in the genealogy of Noah's sons' offspring, Genesis 10. Place, Cush is defined as a land lying south of Egypt, Ezekiel 29 and 10. A metaphor for a faraway place at the ends of the earth, Esther 12, 1, 8, and 9. And a metaphor for another human situation, referring to the black-skinned person designated as other. You see that? So if someone's called Cush, that means they're black-skinned. Now, remember, we read earlier in the chapter that these connections between Africans and Jews has been going on for eons, man. I'm going to show you in the Bible. So we're going to get out of that real quick. I'm going off of memory right now. I wasn't planning on doing this. I believe it's Zephaniah 3 and 1 when he gives his genealogy. The 3 and 1 or 1. It's 1 and 1. Of course, it would be 1 and 1. So if we go to Zephaniah 1 and 1, we'll go to Bible Gateway and show you.
Yeah, man. I'm just gonna classify page 41 as black hate.
Yeah, she's giving the history behind it. Yeah, how the Western Europeans were formulating this theory that became modern race theory. You know what I'm saying? This hatred for blacks, pitting all the blacks as primitives. All of them it was stuck in Africa for 10,000 years, like our boys say, Garfield say. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't come across technology until the white man came and put us in slavery. Like that's all biased racial theory. But this is Zephaniah 1:1. It says, the word of the Lord that came to Zephaniah, the son of Cushi. He's the son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Hezekiah during the reign of Josiah, son of Amon, the king of Judah. So again, if we go back to Edith Bruder's work, here's the other meaning of the word Cush. A metaphor for another human situation referring to the black-skinned person designated as other. So we can see that term was applicable to Jews. I'm going to give you another one. I want to go to the blue letter.
It's a few, man, that we can pull up. And let me say this real quick. Shout out to Zion, right? Shout out to the Firehouse. Zion claims that since that...
You're going out, brother. You're going in and out.
That means he's a Hamite.
No, that's not what Edith Bruder is saying.
See, I'm breaking up.
Yeah, you said since that, but I'm guessing he was saying since it says Cush, that means he's a Hamite. No, she gave you that. That's a meaning. That's a metaphor to call someone black, because that's all Cush means, right? Now we're gonna go to First Chronicles chapter 4, brother, and we're gonna get one of the sons of Judah. Because remember, she says a long history of the Jews and Africans having common features, being attributed common features. One of them is being the skin color. So if you go to First Chronicles,
my bad, man, I'm having technical issue. Did you hear what I said before I got knocked off?
You said that basically what I got from what you said was that the son, that since if they named Cush, that mean they from Ham, and that's not true.
Right. Because what he was trying to say is that the names, some of the names of the sons of the Keturah, the last wife of Abraham, her sons were named after some Hamites. That means that they were Hamites because the names were similar to the names of Ham. I said, brother, that's ridiculous.
Right. That's off. I love you, brother, but that's off. First Chronicles 5. If you go to First Chronicles 4 and verse 5, it says, in Ashur, the father of Tekoa had two wives, Halah and Narah, right? So you had a whole tribe that came out of Ashur. Now we're going to go to tools, and we're going to go to the interlinear and break down what the word Ashur means. You see that? Strong's H806. I actually have this Strong's written in my Bible. You understand? If you go to Strong's 806, watch this.
Strong's H806. Ashur.
What does that mean? You can see it on the screen. What does that mean?
Black.
It means black. That's what it means. And then if you had a whole tribe, look, perhaps black from Ashur. You had a whole tribe going around calling them after their father.
Yo, man, that's fire. Hold up, man. What chapter and verse is that, brother?
First Chronicles chapter 4, verse 5.
First Chronicles chapter 4, verse 5. Somebody asked to repeat that, so that's why. First Chronicles chapter 4, verse 5.
Yeah, man. So they came from Judah, and that was what he was named, black. Another one is Phineas. Phineas means black as well. Or Penihas in the Nubian or Egyptian dialect. I forget what dialect it was. So I want to share that to back up what Bruder was saying about these connections of these Jews being black, going all the way back to biblical times. All right. So we seen in page 41, 42 that a metaphor for another human situation referring to black-skinned person designated as other. That's why you see these Jews with Cush. Even Saul, his name was Cush, right? One of his names, one of his appellatives is Cush. These people with dark skin, man. All right, now let's get into the curse of Ham. The black curse of Ham is not biblical. It's not biblical, man. It's nowhere in the Bible does it say that these people were cursed and they were made black. Nowhere. And then why is it even called the curse of Ham? Canaan is the one that got cursed. That don't even make sense. All right, so this is page number 41. She did an excellent job on bringing this out, by the way. She brings out, some scholars have focused on the question whether Jews, Christians, or Muslims first connected the curse with black skin color. And it is strange association indeed, for there is no reference in it to blacks at all. There is no reference in it, meaning the Bible, to blacks at all. Melamed comments, the identification of Ham and his sons as dark-skinned and naturally destined.
Are you sure this is on page 41?
Let me see. This brother DJ Sean's give me all night, man. He didn't give me one minute.
We just got off 41.
Hold on, I got you. Page number 41. This propensity. I might have messed this one up. This is page 42. My bad.
Thank you.
Page 42. My bad, man. I'm not perfect.
There's a DJ Sean Ski.
Yeah, man. This is after getting up at 7, going to work, and getting off at 10 at night.
No, it ain't a problem, man. I just I'm trying to follow along too.
Yeah, my bad. So for the audience, typo, that should be page number 42.
Yep. That's evidence of plagiarism, brother. We gotta
I'm sorry, man. I plagiarized again. Shout out to Chris Harris. All right, so it says, for there is no reference in it to blacks at all. Melamed comments, the identification of Ham and his sons as dark-skinned and naturally destined to slavery is post-biblical, the result of later historical and cultural circumstances, and by no means to be projected anachronistically onto the Bible itself. So he's saying these things came after the Bible. They have nothing to do with the Bible. Many centuries later, in the 6th century AD, the Babylonian Talmud mentions that Ham, having supposedly emasculated Noah, was thus cursed and condemned to be black. Ham is described as a sinner and his progeny degenerated with negative moral and physical attributes. So you can see that this didn't come from the Bible. The Talmud concocted it in 6th century AD. Has nothing to do with the biblical narrative.
And
now,
I want to touch on something real quick, man. I know we're trying to get through this, man, but I gotta get the people the ammunition on this, man. Right? Can you pull up on the screen for me? Genesis. Dealing with that curse of Ham, man. I believe it's Genesis 10. Let me see, make sure it's Genesis 9. Genesis 9. I'm going to show you, you brothers and sisters, something real quick. When someone tries to use the curse of Ham against you, this is how you're able to defend that.
Yeah, man, it's so silly because it's nowhere in the damn book. They don't say, "Thou shalt be cursed with blackness, Canaan."
Right. Yeah, that's in the Mormon Bible. That's in the Mormon Bible.
Right.
Right. So we're gonna go to Genesis chapter 9. They say that Ham, what we just read, Ham emasculated his father, meaning had a homosexual act with his father. All right. That is not what's going on in Genesis 9. I want to make that
ridiculous and absurd. That's what I thought.
Ridiculous and absurd. Okay.
Yeah, I
so
think
Genesis
9.
20. Start at 20. Yeah.
It says, and Noah began to be an husbandman and planted a vineyard. Verse 21, he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered with his tent. And
Right.
Ham,
So
the
now
father of
he
Canaan,
was uncovered. He was uncovered in his tent. So that is equating that is being equated to nakedness, right? So he was uncovered. So I'm okay with that. Go ahead.
and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren without.
Right. Read
And
on.
Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders, and went backward, and covered the nakedness of their father.
Okay,
And
so they covered the nakedness of their father. Now, brothers and sisters, what you have to understand is the question is, what is the nakedness of a man? Right? Let's go to let's go to Leviticus 11. Leviticus 13. Let me see real quick. Yeah. Let me go to Leviticus real
13,
quick. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. The water.
the law of fornication.
Yes. Right. So Leviticus chapter 13. Actually, that's not it.
It's not 13, right? It's what's the chapter that deals with fornication? Where's my Bible? I think 17 or 15.
Leviticus.
My Bible in my hand.
Oh, I should have had that joint. Let's see.
Yeah, man, you stalling us out, brother.
18, Leviticus 18. All right, Leviticus 18, real quick. Leviticus 18 and start at 6.
All right.
Yeah, start at
Leviticus
6.
18 and 6 says, none of you shall approach to any that is near kin to him to uncover their nakedness.
To uncover their nakedness. Read on.
I am the Lord. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
Right.
The nakedness
Now
of thy
that's her mother. So that's another thing when they try to say, well, Noah's wife was Ham's mother. That's a whole nother lesson because we're going to see a distinction here. Read.
the nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover.
Okay, so remember it said in verse 7, the nakedness of thy father, and then it says the nakedness of thy mother. But in verse 8, it says the nakedness of thy father's wife. Is that two different women, Brother Joshua? Is that two different women right there?
In this context, yeah.
Yeah, right? So the nakedness of thy father is what?
The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover.
Read.
It is thy father's nakedness.
It is thy father's nakedness. Now let's go back to Genesis and read it again. See? Right? Real quick, and I'm going to be done. I'm going to read 25 and 26, and I'll be done with this. But it says, Genesis chapter 9, it says in verse 23, and Ham, of verse 22, and Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father. What is the nakedness of his father? That's his wife. Man, that jacket right here.
All right.
The nakedness of his father, and it says that they walked in backwards, right? So you have to understand what the nakedness is. Verse 25, and he said, for that act, notice this, family. It says what? Verse 24, and Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done. Watch this. What did his youngest son do? And he said, curse be Canaan. What is Canaan? I'm saying that Canaan is the result of the act that was committed against his father, right? That Canaan is a result, or a child was born from that act that Ham committed, right? Now, you don't have to accept this. This is my understanding, all right? So, and Ham, why? Because otherwise you have to explain to me why in the hell was Canaan cursed and not Ham? And then this kills the idea about the curse of Ham. This is a curse of Canaan, right? And it says, and he said, "Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." Right? So they try to use this against us and call us in America Canaanites because we're supposed to be serving under Shem. So that means that the white man is Shem. I yield.
Right. Yeah, that Shemite Hamite thing is crazy because again with the curse of like after everything he read, if you look through this whole chapter, nowhere in this chapter does it say, and yeah, Canaan should be black. Thou shalt be black, Canaan. Nowhere. So they made this up, man. This was a late what's the word? Interpolation that was put in fairly recent. We see the Talmud in the 6th century, Common Era, and has nothing to do with the original text. I also want to point this out. The same phraseology that's being used in the Talmud, Canaan's children shall be born ugly and black, right? Is being used to refer to Jews in the Nisahun Vetus. It says most Jews are dark and ugly. So you can't be confused if they're saying that Canaan's children are supposed to be the black Africans and they're using the same phraseology to describe Jews, right? That's pages 42 and 46 is where I'm quoting this, and she's actually quoting the Talmud, and she's actually quoting this medieval source that's pointing out the Jews are dark and ugly. Early Christianity did not have racial, that should say racial theories or racial biases. So it says Frank Snowden analyzed antiquity's heritage concerning the basis of the relationship between Africans and racialism in order to understand how medieval Christians treated it. Even if he concluded with certain optimism that from an ideological point of view, antiquity in early Christianity did not demonstrate any notions of racial inequality towards Africans. It is difficult to deny that elements of white supremacy existed. So you did have elements of white supremacy in the Romans and the Greeks, but if you just go off the early Christian writings, there is no elements of racist overtones or if you black, you the devil. We got Acts 13:1. One of the followers of Christ was called what? Niger or nigger.
Right. Which simply means black.
Black. That's a fact, and that's a Jew. That's a Jew because was that prior to the intervention with Peter, or is that after?
Yes.
Because we know Paul his mission was to the Gentiles, not Peter.
Right.
So anything before Paul's mission, we know those are all Jews.
Oh, that was actually after. You had Paul, you had Peter dealing with Cornelius in chapter 10, and then you had Peter being called black in chapter 13.
Oh, Acts 13, yeah, Acts 13, but that's before Paul's ministry, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, this definitely was a Jew. Acts 13:1 says, "Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas, Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul." And Cyrene is actually in northern Africa, near Libya.
Fact.
Right? And then you had the Ethiopian, I think in Acts chapter 8, which we're going to go into in a minute. You know what I'm saying? That was a Jew because the Ethiopian came to do what? Worship. How did he know to worship in Jerusalem during the feast days? Because he was already accustomed to the law, statutes, and commandments, man. All right, so now let's go back into the presentation. So early Christianity, the original Christianity didn't exhibit these racial features as far as blacks are inferior, blacks are ugly, and all that.
how could they? Because they were coming in as you know, as guests, visitors. You understand? They were not the people that was in the position that this gospel was given to. It wasn't until later, as white supremacy started to flourish and they started to weaponize the Israelite Bible.
Right.
They started to violate Romans 11, which says, boast not against the natural branches.
Right. Shout out to vocab.
Right.
You know that nigga be boasting against the natural branches, man. All right,
Right.
let's continue on. The Greek and Roman influence on colorism. Early Greek culture
Hey,
and the
man,
Roman.
shout out to Hebrews in the Hood. He said he teach that too. That breakdown on him. So at least I ain't the only one, right?
Oh, the one in Genesis. Yeah.
About
Page number
sleeping with
his father's wife. With his father's wife. Yeah.
Right.
You know, Jihad gonna challenge you on that, right?
Right. Shout out to the great Jihad, man.
Yeah, man. The Johnny Cochran of the source, man. All right. So this page, we on page number 43, and we're dealing with the Greek and Roman influence on colorism. Early Greek culture and the Roman culture that followed it saw a link between physical beauty and moral perfection. Roman culture developed an entire science, physiognomy, on the basis in attempts to fit physical characteristics of the face and the body to spiritual characteristics on a basis of climate theory. So they had this climate theory back in Greece and Rome. And to this day, we're still trying to use this climate theory. You understand? Which has been proven false with Cheddar Man. Because Cheddar Man been in Europe, and his people been in Europe, and they all black, man. The Abkhazian Negroes. So that climate theory ain't got no leg to stand on, but it's still being pushed. We can see it going back.
I thought Japhet is the white man.
Right. The original Japhites would have to been dark skinned, man. And a good book on that, I think I got it right here. Yeah. Before the Color Prejudice by Frank M. Snowden. She quoted Snowden, by the way. The Ancient View of the Blacks. And it lets you know that you don't start seeing whites depicted in Europe until much later. You know what I'm saying? But the first depictions you see are dark skinned. So that's a good book to pick up, for all my avid readers out there. Where were we? Okay, yeah. So we read on the basis of climate theory. So the climate theory was all the way back then with the Romans and the ancient Greeks. It says the Romans assumed that the inferior psychophysical traits of the Africans in the South arose from harsh geographical and climatic surroundings. Skin whitening. Now here's the killer part. For all these people pushing that curse of Ham stuff, and that's why they got black skin. Here's the killer. This is the cut. Skin whitening is an actual curse in the biblical narrative. Skin whitening. Ooh. You don't get cursed with black skin in the biblical narrative. You become a leper in the biblical narrative. That's an actual curse. Paradoxically, as early as, this is the same page number 43, paradoxically, as early as the Exodus around the 13th century BC, an episode in the Bible mentioned that God condemned Miriam, Moses' sister, by inflicting on her a leper as white as snow. That's Numbers 12 and 10.
This white woman going all the way in right now, bro.
You said what?
She going all the way in right now.
Yeah, Bruder. She did a thing on this chapter. That's why I couldn't wait to get to this chapter. You know what I'm saying? She did a thing. The sin was criticizing something concerning Moses' black wife, and the punishment was whitening the skin of the sinner. in contradiction of all stereotypes. Why? Because we've been reading that this curse of Ham thing. Oh, these people are black because they're cursed. But when we do see people get cursed where it affects their skin color, you can turn white. You're getting turned white in the Bible as a curse. Where's the other one? Let's get Gehazi. Gehazi. Let me show you. Ain't no dang curse to make you black, man. Gehazi. How Black Jesus Minister? Gehazi. That's how
Gehazi, brother.
Let me see if I can find it. Where is it at? Naaman the Syrian. 2 Kings. Where's the curse at? Hey, Gehazi, he got a lot of shine in the Bible, man. I thought I could pop it up, be 1 or 2 verses. I don't know the verse offhand, but he was cursed to be a leper, and he was white as snow as well. You understand? Oh, there it is.
Look it up.
This got to be it right here. Is it? I'm here. Right here. So 2 Kings 5, verse 25. Can y'all hear me? Can I be heard?
Yeah.
All right. So it says, but he went in and stood before his master, and Elisha said unto him, whence comest thou, Gehazi? And he said, thy servant went nowhere. And he said unto him, went not mine heart with thee? When the man turned again from his chariot to meet thee, is it a time to receive money and to receive garments and olive yards and vineyards and sheep and oxen and men servants and maid servants? The leprosy, therefore, of Naaman shall cleave unto thee and unto thy seed forever. And he went out from his presence a leper, white as snow. So again, there is no curse in the Bible that makes people black, but there is a curse in the Bible that make people white. You understand? And I believe this is called depigmentation, the same thing that Michael Jackson got. He actually had real leprosy. Because you can't say, oh, white people got leprosy. No. They got melanin. Real leprosy is when you get depigmentation, when your body can no longer produce or the melanin is actually being destroyed. You understand?
Right. They call it now vitiligo.
Vitiligo or vitiligo. Yeah, vitiligo. Yeah. All right. So we can clearly see that that's been substantiated. It ain't no damn curse in the Bible to make you black at all. Now watch this. This is an early Christian father. Watch it. Origin associated blackness with Jews and pagans. Look, this is page number 44. You might want to highlight this one, man. All my people that are avid readers, highlight this, man. This is a great point. It says, following Philo in the 3rd century AD, Origen professed an interpretation that made major contribution to skin color significance without abandoning the entire issue to the spiritual domain. Blackness is not a flaw that is passively received or endured, but rather a feature that one acquires and for which one is responsible. Therefore, Origen assimilated blackness to Jews and pagans, which de-dramatized the physical question of skin tone. So again, Origen assimilated blackness to Jews and pagans. So he associated Jews with being black, man. And that's page number 44. Saint Maurice. Yeah, don't do the DJ Shonsky on me, man. I know that's on page number 44.
I'm on point this time, son.
Look, it's 8 o'clock. Hey, take over real quick. Make some commentary. I'll be right back. Something going on right now. Hold on.
No sweat. All right, family. So I think this is very important, man, that we look and we make these particular highlights and we be able to pull these things out in the midst of conversations with our people, right? And them and their arguments against us claiming that they're literally saying that we are blackwashing the Bible. This is the narrative they're trying to spin. They're saying that we're blackwashing everything. We want to make everything black, but yet and still whitewashing is a real historical thing that took place, beginning with the Bible and ending with what took place in Rome, right? In the Roman Empire, starting with the Medici family, right? Who started to develop such painters such as the Ninja Turtles. And what I mean by the Ninja Turtles is Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, right? And Raphael. These painters came out of that particular school and that time period. Right? And what was they was to take the imageries of the Bible and make them white. You can see this in a movie on Netflix called The Boy's Years. And you will see the horrific story of the Borgia family. And the name of the show is called The Boy's Years, the original crime family. Right? And this guy, Pope Alexander VI, real name is Rodrigo Borgia, who had a son by the name of Cesare Borgia, who became the image of quote unquote Jesus Christ, right? And his sister Lucrezia Borgia, I have her book and her family story, and I also have another book that I can reference to you all called Trip Tiger Poison, that tells you about the horrific acts and homosexuality and bestiality that was taking place in the Borgia family. Now, what was going on with them is that Lucrezia Borgia was actually the last surviving member, but she eventually died also. But Cesare Borgia, the man who they utilized as the image of Christ, and I'm gonna read something to you all from the Apocrypha that explains this very well, right? It says here.
I'm back, brother. So whenever you're ready.
All right, yeah, let me bring this out about the Borgia family because we're talking about whitewashing, right? Really quickly here. In the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, it says this. Salakia. Come on, sir. Here we go. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 15. It says, For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Verse 16. Thus in process of time, an untimely custom grew strong, was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of the king, right? Whom men could not honor in person because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage, meaning image or appearance, from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. So you can go on and read this, and I would encourage you all to go watch that series and then read this entire chapter, Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha, chapter 14. Read that entire thing, and it's going to line up with what took place in that particular series, man, right? These things are very things that were prophesied for us to take a look at. This was the process of white supremacy. Thus, a multitude of negative things were were raised against people of color who just, bro.
You there?
You
Yeah,
there,
Mike.
Joshua?
Yeah. You cut
You
out
know,
at
I
the
keep
end.
going, bro.
Yeah. We already 3 hours. We 3 hours in, man. We gotta, you know what I'm saying? Gotta get to the end of this. So what we left off at, and I apologize to the audience. I had to go handle something real quick. What we left off at is origin associating the Jews with blackness. You know, dealing with the skin tone, right? Because again, it says skin color significance, and he assimilated blackness to Jews and pagans. All right, so we're gonna move on to Saint Maurice the Negro, a contrasting image of the African developed when the dark-skinned wise man appeared in Europe. Gaspard of Balthazar, depending on the legend, which would be followed in the 13th century by Maurice, a more or less legendary saint, who became the first incarnation on the west of a sanctified African. So that's talking about Saint Maurice. That's on page 45. The Jews as blacks. This is what the page says. If you go to the page 45, at the header, before she begins the paragraph, it says the Jews as black. So I don't want to hear nobody talking about all this. Well, she didn't mean black. She meant a state of mind, brother. No, stop. All right, so we read. Parfit recalls that Amerigo Vespucci, 1454 to 1512, in trying to define the strangeness of American Indians, only succeeded in doing so by referring to Jew-Moor relationships. They can be called neither Moors nor Jews, but worse than Gentiles. Indeed, a long-lasting overlap of images of otherness, the Moor and the Jew, operated medieval European culture. Now, in order for them to be classified as otherness, they have to be non-white, right? So remember that. And we already established that the Moors, it comes from the Roman word mari, which denotes black. Judah depicted as black. Watch this. As Gilman.
That's not what more means. Moabite, brother. You going on?
Yeah, they go back to Moab.
Right.
He deals with this esoteric stuff, man. Y'all gotta cut it out, bro. Y'all need to come over to the source and, you know what I'm saying, get your collegiate scholarship on, man. So just keep reading. As Gilman observes, the very concept of color is the quality of otherness. You see that? So for the Moors and the Jews to be considered others or have otherness, it's dealing with the concept of color, right? It says the very concept of color is the quality of otherness, not of reality. For not only blacks are black in the amorphous world of projecting, so too are Jews. So it's saying the Jews are seen as being black during this time. Just keep reading. As early as the 13th century, an expression of religious and ethnical hostilities toward African and Jews is represented in the overlap of Jew and black in the representation of Judas treason, where Judah is black. That's page number 46. If I go to page 46 right here. Right here. Oh, Judas is black. My bad. It's Judas, Judas, which is Judah in Greek anyway. Judas is black. Jews described as being dark and ugly. Page number 46 as well. Ancient writings already mentioned the Jewish appropriation of this self-image. In the Nizahun Vetus, a treatise of the early Middle Ages answering the Christian discourse about the Jews, the author wrote, the heretics asked, why are more Gentiles fair-skinned and handsome, while most Jews are dark and ugly? Now, this is the same phraseology that's being used in the Talmud describing the sons of Canaan. And they say that's talking about black Africans. So when you see it applied to Jews, the imagery I'm thinking about is black Africans, dark skin.
Right.
All right. Black skin of Jews. Prudencio de Sandoval asks in 1604, who can deny that in the descendants of the Jews there persists and endures the evil inclination of their ancient ingratitude and lack of understanding, just as in Negroes there persists the inseparability of their blackness, of their blackness, of their blackness, of their blackness. This is being applied to Jews in 1604.
Right.
Let's keep reading. 17th century English travelers renewed the accepted stereotypes of Jewish racial otherness, including the belief that Jews were black-skinned, including the belief that Jews were black-skinned, including the belief that Jews were black-skinned.
Hold up, man. Hold up, brother. You're going too fast. Yo, that's a bomb, bro. It says the belief that the Jews were black-skinned. Bombs.
Come on, man. Come on, man. The naysayers ain't gonna like this chapter. Primary attestation of black Jews. I've covered this before. This is page number 47. When William Brereton noted his impressions of the Jews in the synagogue of Amsterdam in 1635, he observed that the Jewish men are most black. The Scottish minister Robert Kirk, when he paid a visit to a synagogue in London in 1690, observed more than 200 Jews worshiping and noted they were all very black men. This view dominated the vision of the Jews so much that Adam G. Gorowski, a Polish nobleman, took every light-colored mulatto for a Jew. By the end of the 17th century, Francois Maximilian mission in A New Voyage of Italy moderated this opinion, considering that it is a vulgar error that Jews are all black. It is only true of the Portuguese Jews who, marrying always among one another, beget children like themselves. And this is why Bruce D. Haynes was on Garfield's show, I think yesterday or the day before, right? And he was on his show and he said the Jews wasn't considered white until like yesterday. That's what he said in the show. Because in his book, let me pull it up. Let me pull up his book. And we've seen all these observations and attestations to Jews being black, right? But if you go to Bruce D. Haynes' book, let me see if I can get it. Let's get it right here. Solar Judaism. You see this section right here, page 61 in Bruce D. Haynes' book? A hyphenated whiteness. Roughly 2 million Eastern European Jews immigrated to the United States between 1870 and 1920, a period in which modern racial classifications were solidifying and new Herrenvolk master race republicanism was pushing non-white groups outside the margin of civil society. So this is a time period when 2 million Eastern European Jews, these white Jews, was coming to America, right? Lauren refers to a strategic withdrawal of African Americans from northern and western towns and rural areas during the period of the Great Retreat. Realtors, banks, police chiefs, chambers of commerce, local white citizens in the state openly favored white supremacy and helped to maintain all white communities. Whites' reconstruction notion of civil societies by using mob violence and intimidation to drive out the first Chinese and soon after black Americans from small streetcar and industrial working class towns, suburbs, and assorted counties across the nation. Negro migrants from the South encountered thousands of towns and local jurisdictions that had been established as sundown towns, places where the predominantly white population barred blacks and other racialized residents settling. Jews were sometimes excluded from these white-only spaces as well, forcing many to abandon their religious practice and pass as parvenus, Hannah Art's term for people who pass into Anglo-Gentile society. So my point of bringing that up, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, is that this hyphenated whiteness, when they started associating whiteness with Jews, it happened during this period. You know what I'm saying? On a large scale, of course. I'm not saying there were no white Jews before that, but in the United States, between 1870 and 1920, you had all these East European Jews, these Ashkenazi Jews being dumped into the damn country. You understand? And that's when the period of hyphenated whiteness took course. All right, so let's get back to the source here. So we can see here, we're seeing attestations and witnesses to the Jews being black. We're seeing it. And these are mainly attestations to what? Sephardic Jews, right? because you see the Sephardic congregation in London. You see the Portuguese being mentioned here. Well, many of them were Sephardim in Amsterdam. These were Sephardic Jews, and they were all considered black. There's no way around that. And page 48, black skin, an attribute of Jews. James C. Pritchard commented on Coralic and melancholic constitution of the Jews, such that they usually have skin color somewhat darker than the English people. So melancholic is coming from that medieval science. They believe that people were dark because they sinned or they did some kind of evil deed. This is what they said to Jews. Oh, they're dark because they're evil. They're Jews. You understand? But this is what it's saying. James C. Pritchard said.
You know what, Joshua? That also go with that narrative when they try to say, man, I couldn't believe, man. And shout out to Matt So Real, man. I couldn't believe what he said to me, bro. That brother's told me the Jews don't exist no more, man. They up in heaven, sitting next to the throne of God. I'm like, cute. Bro, this is outrageous. And then this goes right along with that, with the idea that he came into his own, and his own received him not. You see? So the Jews are evil and wicked because they killed Christ, even though it was the Romans that crucified him. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So therefore, the children of Israel rejected him, but yet it was the children of Israel that taught you Christians everything that you know.
Exactly. Without the children of Israel, you wouldn't even have Christianity. You wouldn't even have it. You know what I'm saying? So that's a farce. That's a farce. You know what I'm saying? We need to have Matt on the show, and we need to sit down and talk to that brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and look, bro. The first time we did this show, this is episode part 2. Episode part 1, I can show you. I can show you where I extended the hand to him to come on because I wanted him to see it because I asked him a direct question. Can you tell me my ancestry in the Bible? And he said, yeah. Anywhere it says Egypt, anywhere that it says Ham, that's talking about you. I said, well, then what about this book from Edith Bruder called The Black Jews of Africa? You understand me? Can you tell me about this historical evidence that's showing that the Jews are black? They don't care about that. They tell you and I that it don't matter. Why are you striving the genealogy? And in the next breath say, are you going to send some money to Israel to help the Jews? This is hypocrisy, man. This is hypocrisy. We got to help the Jews. There's a whole Christian channel on damn TBS or TBN or whatever it's called, the Trinity Broadcast Network, okay? TBN, Trinity Broadcast Network, that's campaigning for you to help Jews. I just seen a commercial the other night showing poor Jews standing in a stick somewhere out in the back bush somewhere, talking about help these Jews. These are God's people. But yet Israelites are being shot dead in the streets of America, and there's no campaign for us. This will be upsetting me, man. That's why I be getting real emotional about this thing, man. You understand? And I don't have no problem saying I'm getting emotional about it because the Bible says, surely oppression make a wise man mad. And that's the emotion I'm dealing with.
Right.
Understand that, man.
That's why we bringing the truth to the forefront, man. That's why we bringing it out. These people is considered black. You know what I'm saying? And you can't. The slaves can read now.
Right.
You can't hold information from us no more. All right, so now let's deal with the African character of the Jew. This is page 48 as well. It says associated anatomical signs such as the shape of nose and the prognosticism supported the assumption of close racial relationships between Jews and Africans. Robert Nax shared this analysis and wrote, the African character of the Jew. The whole physiognomy, when swarthy, meaning black, as it often is, has an African look.
Right.
Come on, man. Stop playing. Page number 49. Jews seen as black. Blackness as a common denominator of the inferiority of Africans as well as Jews has a long history in Western culture. The racial promiscuity of Jews and Africans became commonplace in the 19th century and came to be adopted as such by some 20th century anthropology, which declared on occasion that Jews were black, which declared on occasion that Jews were black, which declared on occasion that Jews were black. That's what this book says. These niggas out there that don't read, man. Yeah, man, you misrepresenting what? You didn't read it. All of this provided the rationale for the representation of difference and inferiority for both Africans and Jews, whereby the blackness of the Jew represented the sentences of two projections of otherness according to the same code. This is page 49. And that's the end of my highlights. We will be covering chapter 6 and 7, encountering and reinventing the Africans and Jews in the colonial era.
Damn.
So that's
man. Straight bombs, man. Straight bombs, man. You know, I can't believe, man. Shout out to Brother Roy Born, man. He literally said this book is about converts. That's what this book is about, family. That's what he said. Oh, I've been having this book for years, but you never read it. Because if you read it, you would have you wouldn't have made that assertion. You would have cast the whole book off. So that book is trash because it's talking about black Jews.
I got a message for Raborn.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow.
Hey, Raborn, take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, he got upset because I told him, well, when Edith Bruder uses the word myth, she's not saying fiction. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, she's wrong. But she was just telling me that this book was going to be the killer of the Israelites and all this other stuff. And then when we bring some points out that agree with us, now she's wrong. Now throw the book away. Get rid of the book.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
Yeah,
hey, man, look, family. Look, we are rocking and rolling over here at the source. Everyday content, right? Without falling into the realms of ad hominem. Notice we didn't make mention of nothing tonight, Joshua. I don't know if you noticed that, brother.
Look, man, we working, and when you working, it's kind of hard to deviate from that. When you truly putting in that work, you know what I'm saying? Look, man, we really Nehemiah scholars. You know what I'm saying? We got a sword in one hand and a brick in the other. We building and we cutting niggas at the same time. You know? And this is not going to be the only book we do that. This is not going to be the only book that we're going to go chapter by chapter giving highlights. We're going to show the community who really actually taking out the time and that is committed to read and disseminate this information. What these people have been doing is they have been pulling a sham on the people. They'll sit here and say, yeah, I got this book. I know about this book. And all you did is went to Google and went to the preview pages and was like, oh, I'm going to preview this and preview that. Oh, a free preview. Oh, I'm going to read. Now you know the whole damn book. You went and read one page. That is going to stop. We're going to start doing these more often. And we're going to read this stuff live. There you go, brother. We own the book. We read the book. And we bring out the information in the book. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We setting ourselves apart here. Like I said, we on Nehemiah time. One hand got a sword, one hand got a brick. We building and cutting niggas over here. You know what I'm saying?
Man, well, look, man, the library is real over here, man. You understand me? Like we're not what you would call a Judge Shub, surface dwellers.
Right.
You understand me? So we encourage our brothers and sisters to actually go and do what? Buy the book. Read the book. They'll show you the book like this, fam. They'll say, see this book right here? This is gonna kill all of you black Hebrew Israelites. They know damn well we got a problem when you call us black Hebrew Israelites, but they don't give a damn. You black Hebrew Israelites, this book is going to destroy you. Then you go get the book, and it come to find out it's actually for our defense. Shut up, man. Understand that, man. We're doing it for real over here, man.
Right.
It's all about the source, man. Real talk, man. You feel me? Yo, man, I sent that joint to you in the WhatsApp, man. We can close out with that joint.
All right, man. Powerful show. And we working, man. We moving. Look, dogs only gonna bark at moving objects. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of dogs barking at us. And like you said, we ain't no surface dwellers. Them Negroes got their little floaties on in the 2-foot section of the damn pool with floaties on. You know what I'm saying? Look, interlude tube over them. They trying not to drown in the 2-foot area. We over there with the sharks. You can't come over here, man. You're not allowed to come over here. We in the deep end. We actually in this thing studying. And I keep telling y'all, going online and lambasting a bunch of information is not scholarship. That's not scholarship. Show us that you can explicate the information and explain what's going on in these books. Show us. You can't. Most of you guys are dilettantes, meaning you lack the commitment and the knowledge. And I'm standing on that.
Man. Shout out to the exotic sisters out here, man. And exotic means you're not talking about the white man or the white woman. Exotic is talking about you Africans and Israelites. We made it clear tonight. The Jews are black. Let me read it again because I got it highlighted right here. All right, got a perfect highlight right here. Page 43. Right? Hold on, let me get the other one. The Jews are black. Where is it at? Page 47. The belief that the Jews were black-skinned. He observed that the Jewish men are most black. Bonds. Right? Page 49. Right? Which declared on occasion that Jews were black. Straight bombs, man. Straight bombs.
Yeah, it's over. It's over for y'all, man. Y'all arguments falling, busting at the seams right now, man. And this is why they won't come in the ring, Jeremiah. Right. They won't get in the ring with somebody that's gonna sit there and put the hours in to study this stuff, man. You want weaklings. You want people that's fresh in the knowledge, that really don't know too much, so you can, play with their head, beat them up a little bit. Now you're a Hebrew killer. No, you got to come see us, man.
Facts.
You ain't beat nobody until you fought Mayweather, man. The hell wrong with you?
Facts.
All right, so I'm done trash talking about the trash. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, listen, man. Once you took the trash out, man, so it's outside, man. Nothing more else to take out, man. Take the trash out, you come back in. Mom, is any more trash? Nope, it's all gone.
Yeah, man. Because what we doing is we showing degrees of separation here. We own our books, we read them, and we actually understand the information. It's that simple. All right, let's get into it.
And you say things like, wow, you're so beautiful. Oh, thank you, brother. Keep going. Nah, you're mad exotic. Like, what you mixed with? I'm mixed with black. Nah, but you not pretty. Like, you got something else in you. You too pretty to be black. Me done say me black. Well, oh, why you insulted? Like, that's a compliment. Well, to a black woman who isn't there as yet in her journey, where she doesn't know herself, that's a compliment. Yeah, you know, my great step grand roach is this. But to a conscious black woman, a woman who knows herself, that's an insult, okay? That is not a compliment. Because you're telling me, the original woman, that me have to be mixed with somebody else to be supreme. Excuse me? Huh? You really out of order for that. And furthermore, this word exotic is so misused. It just simply means different from the norm. It has nothing to do with being of a specific race or being mixed or anything like that. And by definition, black women, the most diverse women on earth, are exotic.
I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. Never go. We got the bag down, 10 toes. We got the bag. Never go. We got the bag down, 10 toes. We got the bag. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. Don't hate cause I'm making a choice. Get scared cause I'm raising my voice. Get mad cause I'm using my op-ed. Then say that our women got it poppin'. We know our women got curved, but they facing their hair in the way that they rock it. They shot like a fork in a socket. Say hey ourselves, that's the thing that we block. You know they got style and they come from the spirit. You know they look good, but you don't want to hear it. It take a little time to get it on. When they get it on, no, they stop the show. We showing love when they get it on. Standing ovations, no Caucasians, no self-help or defamation. Just envisions of a greater nation. Self-love with an exhortation. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. Never go. We got the bag down, 10 toes. We got the bag. Never go. We got the bag down, 10 toes. We got the bag. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. Do we really hate ourselves so much that we perpetrate the things that they say against us? They really want to separate us, and it starts with the love that they see between us. Sisters, how we going to better ourselves? And it starts from the time we examine ourselves, appreciate each other, how we better ourselves, see the value because we have no one else. Believe me, I got invested interest. Got 2 daughters and they need to hear this. Really? Yes, that's Honey and Rain. He ain't getting closer unless he have some brains. He ain't getting closer unless I'm feeling his spirit. And I'ma look deeper than a man's appearance. I pray he value our race and never look down when it comes to our praise. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. Never go. We got the bag down, 10 toes. We got the bag. Never go. We got the bag down, 10 toes. We got the bag. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. I love when my woman be styling. Wouldn't change one thing, that's a wildin'. One thing that I need on an island, my race be the place that I choose to reside in. We got the bag, never go. We got the bag down, 10 toes. We got the bag, never go. We got the bag down, 10 toes. We got the bag.
Yeah. All praise and glory, man. I appreciate the love and support, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in, right? Shout out to the Scholastic Bully, man, right? The Source Debate League champion, man. Ain't took his foot off the gas yet, man. You understand me? You know, keep bringing this hard-hitting information. Stick with the source, man. Despite what the naysayers say, man, we love our people, man.
Facts, man. Powerful song. Good way to end the live. You know what I'm saying? We SUC. Like my boy Big Pokey say, we're going to throw it in your face. Source up.